are you? I'm still trying to catch up. Where's your video?
It's.
I have to go to my subscriber list. Oh, did you notice this ever?
Yeah.
You knew that?
Yeah.
You knew there was a live icon?
Let us know
avatar?
when you can see and hear us, everybody.
Have y'all been listening to our conversation? As I figure out how to get to Andrew's video, his YouTube channel.
Oh, man. And action. Hey, Wirehead.
Hope the CEO personally delivered those to you. You know what?
He probably should have. We'll talk about the odyssey that has been this endeavor. Good morning. Lisa, hey, how are you?
Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
We're just waking up. I mean, I'm just waking up. Andrew's been up for a minute.
I've been up since 5.
Apparently, I keep him awake at night. You know, I have an issue of being a cover thief, apparently.
A sheet thief.
A sheet thief? Does
Yep.
anyone else do that? I see it as his problem. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, man. How are our volume levels? Everybody happy with them so far? I haven't seen any complaints.
Just wait.
So, hopefully we don't run into the same gremlins we had last month. Oh my gosh.
Is this live? Mando Desjardins.
Yeah, it's live.
It's live. What do you think? You think
Max Power, appreciate you.
That's what a live stream is.
Appreciate you. Sneaking us into your schedule.
JJ Newbold.
What did JJ Newbold say?
This person, I mean, they always have questions. Always have questions.
Uh-huh.
I am shocked. Okay, I'm just going to try to answer this for you because I know you're going to just keep asking. Is it safe to have my speakers 3 to 4 inches from my amp? He has a 2000A. Can the speaker magnets distort, damage the amp? I actually saw this comment. JJ left this in another video the other day, and when I read it, I looked at it, and I'm not gonna lie, JJ, I laughed out loud because I was like, what? Magnets?
Well, yeah, that's how speaker drivers work.
Okay. Well, why would being next to an amp be a problem?
Well, magnets can sometimes mess with electronic equipment. Don't look at me like it's not a thing. It actually is a thing.
Sure.
No, it is.
Sure, Jan.
But in this case, JJ, you're gonna be okay. I think it's safe to say that maybe you're in a near field or desktop setup. That's why some of this stuff would be so close. I don't know. But I haven't run into any issues with modern loudspeakers and modern electronics. I know back in like the CRT TV days, you couldn't put speakers too close to a TV. It could interfere with the signal in the picture, and that was very much a real thing. But since that era, haven't really run into it, or I don't think it's that big of an issue. So,
I mean, the setups I see out there living in the wild on Facebook or whatever, I mean, if magnets are a problem, then I guess no one is hearing anything because a lot of people have their speakers set
pretty close to other things and stuff. Yeah. No, I'm sorry we had a bit of fun maybe at your expense, JJ, but no, I get it, moving stuff around and trying new things. So you should be fine. I haven't run into anything like that.
Jerk Tog says Kristi's audio is not as good as normal.
Well, Jerk Tog, I will have to say that she does not like the microphone all that close to her, and she also can't sit still to save her life. So I will mic her for when we do sound check, and then when we go live, she'll move. She'll just completely change her entire speech pattern, her location.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to move it closer to
I
me?
would, if everyone will give me a
no,
you don't know how it
I
works.
can,
You don't
oh
know
my
how
God.
it works.
I do too.
Don't hit the camera. See? I apologize for the
Oh, stop apologizing. It's fine.
tighten it way down, otherwise that's going to come crashing into your computer.
Okay. Maybe this should
That needs to rotate forward.
Yep. I got it. How's that, Jerk Todd? Look at what I just did for you.
Kristi sounds excellent according to John Sackett.
Well, where were you, John, earlier when Jerk Todd was complaining?
Well, now he says it's better.
Oh.
Now he says, Jeremiah says it's better. So
Amazing. She sounds fine. Much better. Well, Greg agreed with Jerk Todd. So, okay. we made it better.
Okay. Good.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Did someone wake up in a grumpy mood today?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I'm doing great.
J. Lauren Smith, 100%. Doesn't like microphones, can't sit still, steals covers, makes up for it by getting BioLab 90s.
You know what, Jay Lauren? You really do understand how life works and what's important. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Better with a UK accent. Mick.
No,
Mick.
no, Mick.
Mick, you know what my favorite thing to do is? So we watch a lot of interior design and like architecture, home tour type shows.
If you're not subscribed or you don't watch, it's called Local Project. The channel's The Local Project, Open Space.
Spaces.
Open Spaces.
Two different channels.
Two different channels. Or occasionally check out Sir Haunt. He does some home tours in New York that are pretty impressive. And once you, basically, if you start watching Local Project and Open Spaces, you're going to get recommended a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff.
the algorithm will just
Yeah.
feed you everything you really have been missing in your life. So one of my favorite things to do is when we're watching these shows, especially the Local Project, they are often in Australia or New Zealand or in that part of the world. And their accents just crack me up. So every time they say something that's pretty pronounced, I'll repeat it. And Andrew just looks at me like, he just shakes his head because I do it every single time. It's one of my favorite things to do. I won't attempt it now because I'll probably embarrass myself. What's one of the words one of the haba? The haba?
Yeah.
Or it's an ace. It's usually a vowel
Yeah,
sound.
it's always a vowel. I can't recall off the top of my head.
Anyway, that's how we entertain ourselves.
It is how we entertain ourselves. All right. Well, Paul, really quick, I see Paul says we have a lot of style, but I bet Kristi bought her clear glass coffee cups at Crate and Barrel or something like that. Actually, Paul, while Crate and Barrel does have stuff like this, we were in a bit of a pinch. We were having some guests over and we needed more coffee mugs. I picked these up on Amazon and they're so versatile, so good that I went back and I bought another set. So these are actually an Amazon find. So
Yeah,
anywho.
we bought them when we first started drinking real coffee that we made ourselves. Andrew is an expert cappuccino maker.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I try.
You sure are a hell of a lot better than half the baristas out there roaming the earth. Holy crap. Just serving absolute garbage.
Well, I will say when I put my mind to something and I want to take on a new, call it hobby, because to be into, there's, I like to drink coffee and then there's, I like to make coffee, and those are two very different things. I like to make coffee and drink coffee. And when you decide you're going to be that person that wants to make their own, it's a hobby. It becomes a hobby. You start learning new techniques. And I start learning about new coffee makers. and it's crazy. I have about four kind of little side hobby things. HiFi and home theater, that's a big one. But I'm getting into watches. I'm into coffee, and I love interior design and furniture. And so I will obsess about all four of those things.
Just real quick, since we're still on the coffee talk, not sponsored, but the coffee we love is from this small maker or whatever, called Airship.
Airship Black Bear Blend.
Yes, that's the coffee we particularly drink. We were able to try it through some sponsorship like a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Where it was like a subscription service, and they sent you different
Coffees every month.
And this was one of the ones that we were presented, and we just
stuck with it. We've been ordering it. It gets delivered every 45 days.
Yeah, you can set it up for whatever delivery time frame you want, and it just shows up, and we're never out.
Yeah, we've been on it now for almost 2 years. It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
It's really good. I gotta love trash day. That's fun. Okay, I am now officially behind on some questions. So let's get to some questions. Then we're gonna tell you the story of how this came about, and then we'll get back to some more questions, and then maybe towards the end we will kind of share our thoughts about what's happened this year and some of our favorites, so because we're not going to do our usual end of year wrap up. We only have 3 more videos until the end of the year. It's crazy. And they're all, in my opinion, going to be very, very good. So anyway, Alan writes, what matters more, surrounds or heights matching front brand or series? Honestly, especially if you're going to use room correction software like Dirac, and if you use more of the higher end Dirac products like base management and now base control, I have found that with every iteration of room correction over the last 20 years, they've gotten better and better at sort of melding different brands together. I'm not saying that it's perfect and that through room correction, you're going to have a Kef and a Klipsch sound the same. I'm not saying that. But especially when it comes to surrounds and Atmos channels and more of effects channels, you can get away by mixing and matching a lot easier, in my experience, than you can when you are relying on just, say, a 3-channel home theater system or a 2.1 channel home theater system. Well, 2.1, you'd have matching speakers, but you know what I mean. So what matters most? I don't know. I mean, we have, our in-ceilings are all Klipsch. They will be changing in the new year. I just want to try something different, and a couple of people have mentioned some stuff for me to try, so I'm curious to swap them out. But they've been Klipsch for 3 years, and you've seen the bevy of different speakers we've had in the front. And it's never been one of those things that I'm watching a movie and I go, you know what, man, this isn't great. Honestly, the only time that our in-ceilings have stood out as being like radically different from something else is whenever I'm trying to compare the more directive sound of our in-ceilings, because they are just, that kind of cone of sound, to a loudspeaker like an Era 300 that has forward firing drivers, side firing drivers, and upward firing drivers. Those Era 300s or speakers like that create a little bit more immersion laterally and vertically compared to just the kind of downward firing cone. So that's one of the things that I want to play with in the new year as far as our in-ceilings go, but I wouldn't stress too much about making sure things match. The Wicked Plumber just gifted some memberships. Thank you so much. Clem, I'm stuck. Clem's stuck. He was about to buy an Eversolo A10, a Michi S5. Now he's going down a rat hole with a full Macintosh separate system. The longer I search, the more expensive my solution gets. Tell me this is the way. HDMI, RC, power, help. Clem, I get it. I do. The easiest way to put this is if you know you're going to use the living bejesus out of your system, like it's pretty much going to always be on, and it's something that you don't even have to like carve time out to use. Your lifestyle just sort of jives with music always being on, or you getting to sit and listen and enjoy yourself. Invest, go for it. You know, when people ask me all the time, like, would you invest in a supercar, or would you invest in something like a BioLab 90? I would invest in a BioLab 90. I'm going to get way more use out of it. It's a supercar price, but I would get way more use out of this. I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying that it's important to really kind of take stock and realize, like, how many hours in any given day or week are you really using something before going down a rabbit hole, or a rat hole, as you put it, into something like Macintosh. I mean, even the meat sheet is not cheap. So in my opinion, if you're going to make the investment, and I was thinking about this, not to turn this into a watch channel, but I was thinking about this a lot this week. If you're going to make the investment, then get the thing that likely is going to appeal to all of your senses and all of your, I'm going to say ego, but I'm saying ego in a nice way, not in that kind of negative connotation way, because there are things that we want for ourselves. You know, I was watching this commentator about watches, and he had a very good comment about Rolex. While you can think Rolex is overpriced, overvalued, or whatever, and he wasn't trying to argue that he, you know, in being contrarian about it, think what you want. But there are just certain things that on a more personal and tangible level, as individuals, we want in life. For some people, that's a car. For some people, it's a watch. For some people, it's speakers, it's a house, it's, you know, it's anything. It's a suit. It's a nice dinner, or a series of nice dinners throughout your life. For other people, it's travel. And if this is your thing, Eversolo is fantastic. It really is. They make great products, but I would not consider that to be an heirloom type thing. I don't think 10 years from now, while people may still be using their Eversolos, while people still may be loving their Eversolos, I don't think that anyone's going to look back and go, that's a classic. That's, you know, that's a piece. Because Eversolo more than likely will release 24 new DACs. We'll be on the A210 in that same time. Michi, now that's interesting, you know, because look at like the Rotel 1592 Mark II. How old is that product at this point in the second variation? I mean, it's got to be 10 years old, and it still holds true, and it still really holds its value. So Michi and Macintosh are kind of in that vein where it's like, you know, it might be worth the splurge, so long as you know that if you go that route, you're probably going to be done. And so if you're probably going to be done, you also have to want to be done. And that really is the bigger issue facing a lot of enthusiasts, is a lot of people don't want to be done because it's more fun chasing something, going down rabbit holes, because let's face it, we're just as much fans, if not more fans, of the gear and getting to play with it than we are getting to experience it. What's up?
Oh, just YouTube crashing again.
For you?
And running really slow, just like it's done the last several live streams.
So I'm stuttering?
Well, it was being slow. Like the chat, just typing in the chat box and stuff was really slow, and then it just crashed.
Okay. So yeah, Clem, that would be my advice. I can't tell you like what to buy. This is just how I would advise, like going into anything. Like, what do you think? Ryan, greetings. Monitor Audio Silver 507G versus Martin Logan Foundation F10. About to upgrade front soundstage. Thanks for great content. Both are fine. Both are great. I think the Monitor Audio Silver line of products is going to be a little dressier, a little classier looking. I do think it's going to give you marginally better performance. It's just a tidier package all around. Nothing against the Foundation, but I think you might also pay a little bit more for the Monitor Audio. But I think that's a really great speaker line. Alan Brown, my old Rotel RSX 1056 has finally died. Have an Anthem MRX 1140 on order. Should I expect a difference in sound quality or tone? I have not heard the MRX 1140, so I don't know. My two experiences with Anthem include the 740, which is a receiver, and the STR integrated. Both of those had very, very similar sound characteristics with the STR, or was it STR or SRT? STR integrated, obviously having a little bit more control, a lot more confidence, things like that. So yeah. Are you going to notice a big jump? I think you might find tonally that the Anthem may be actually just a hint more full sounding, maybe just a hint more body in that kind of mid-range to bass transition, whereas I think Rotel has, it's a linear, it's a neutral amp, but there's something about the sensation of Rotel that just, it grips. Like it's a very grippy, fast attack, dynamic, snappy sound to most everything I've ever paired with the Rotel, which I love, without it being like, that V-shape. And I think you might find that little bit of grippiness, not lack of control, but just that immediacy of the Rotel may be slightly subdued with the Anthem, but overall very comparable, I think. Thinking about upgrading my B&W 607 first gens to 705 S3. Will my Marantz 6015 be enough to power a 2.1 setup for music and movies? I'm not intimately familiar with the 6015, so I don't want to give you a definitive answer, but my gut says you should be okay in 2.1 with 705 S3s because we powered those on some AVRs when we had them. We had them in-house, and they did pretty well. They did fine. Obviously, if you find that you run into issues, you can always add something like an Emotiva Bass X A2 for not that much money, probably $300, and then you're golden. So, but I would start with what you have. Go ahead and make the upgrade, see if it works for you. And before, if something seems a little bit off, before you blame the speaker or ditch the speaker and go a different route, maybe just go pick up like a $300 Emotiva, put that to the preamp outs of your 6015 and see if that doesn't solve everything. G Papa. Any chance of reviewing the 805D4 signatures and Marantz's new Model 10? Would love to hear your thoughts. We probably will not do the 805D4 signatures because we did the 800 signatures and then obviously we did the 805D4 non-signatures. So I don't think I'm going to, in 2025, try and chase down that model, just because I feel like I've experienced it, and I don't want to, there's only so many slots and so much time in my schedule to review things, and while I never want to disappoint anybody and let you down and not give you the review that you're after, I gotta weigh what's kind of coming up with what I have time for.
Those are the bookshelves,
the bookshelf,
right?
The blue bookshelf and the signatures.
I actually missed the black bookshelves.
The 805D4s, yeah, they were really good.
We had. I'm sure they would sound great together.
The new Marantz model.
We don't have it.
We've requested it.
Yes.
But we don't have an ETA on when it will arrive. So that's what I got for you. GMV, I'm now playing around with bookshelves and just received some solid steel stands. Do you fill them up? What's your preference if you do? Thanks and congrats on the B1190s. I do not fill our solid steel stands up. In fact, I don't.
No, we don't.
No, I know we don't. I haven't filled stands in probably 20 plus years. I used to do it all the time. Because you'd read Stereo Times or whatever blog and whatnot, and they'd be like, the first thing you got to do is fill them. And then I just realized that as a reviewer, I'm moving things so much that turning a speaker stand into a 200-pound, 150-pound paperweight really made my job more difficult. especially given that some of these stands are already so heavy and already so well built, like solid steel. So I don't fill them. Back in the day when I did, I used playground sand, although I know people have used kitty litter. I just used playground sand. So that's what I did. And it was messy. It was messy. Aloha. My 7.1 home theater, RCAM AVR 11, SVS Ultra Bookshelf LCR, SVS Prime Satellites for Surround, SVS SB2000 Pro. Is the better upgrade another SB2000 Pro or replace the 2000 with a single SB3000 Pro? If you are experiencing bass dips, nulls, gaps, valleys at your listening position or listening positions, first see if there's anywhere you can put your existing SB2000 Pro in your room to see if that isn't a better solution. Once you've exhausted all the free options at your disposal, I would more than likely get a second sub to even out any and all bass response, because that will likely result in clearer sounding lower mid and mid range. And that can matter. That really can matter. So I would make sure that before you double down and just get a bigger sub that gets placed in the same spot that may have the exact same problems. And be sure to tune in on Sunday for our video on Sunday. We talk extensively about this topic on Sunday. But before you go buy a bigger sub, only to put it in a spot that may be the problem and not the sub, experiment with placement, then consider a second sub before doubling down and getting a bigger one. All right. 2 listening rooms, Christian says, 2 listening rooms, main and bedroom, have realized lately that I do way more listening in my bedroom system. Wondering if I should swap systems. Am I alone in this phenomenon? I mean, we don't really have a system in our bedroom. We have the Bose Smart Ultra soundbar, and I fall asleep to it every night. I wouldn't say that I spend more time listening to it, but it does get used.
I think it's great. I think the Bose is a great bedroom solution.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you need something that's articulate and intelligible at lower volumes. So think maybe it's nighttime and you have to be considerate of other household members who may be already going to sleep. I think that's a really good solution.
Yeah.
But I also thought the Sonos Arc Ultra was also really...
we never put that in the bedroom, though.
We did not, but it was really good for intelligibility, so I would assume it would do well in the bedroom.
But he's saying that he has 2 systems. He's got a main system and a bedroom, and he listens more in his bedroom. Should he swap it? I'm guessing if he puts his bedroom system out in his main room, is he going to necessarily use it more because maybe he likes the bedroom system more? I don't know. Give it a shot.
Try it and see what happens.
Yeah. Give it a shot. Okay. Aeromaniac. Happy holidays. I know last time I said I was happy with my speakers. I just had to snag a pair of LS50s, LOL. Any recommendations for a stereo amp with HDMI? My Pioneer LX104 is too soft.
Marantz M1.
There you go. Marantz M1. That is where, for me, the HDMI integrated do everything train starts.
If you haven't watched that review, Aeromaniac, it's a pretty fun review. It's great.
It's so good.
Great product. I would say probably my amp of the year.
We'll save that thought and we'll go down the list.
Why wait?
Phil says, I have Monitor Audio Gold C255G with silver RX1s, RX2, ceiling, and a 5.1.4 Marantz Cinema 50 plus SVS for home theater and music. Should I go with Gold 100s, Arendal, or B&W? I mean, if you're already familiar with the Monitor Audio brand, sound, and speaker, the least the potential for the least adjustment period would be to go with the brand you know. Especially seeing as how you have a gold product, you have silver products. So the gold is probably going to be, just like coming home. It's not going to be radically different. There may be some minor improvements here and there, but overall, I don't think that you're going to power up your system after making the switch and go, uh-oh, what have I done? Not to say that you would do that with Arundel or B&W, but understand that both of those speakers are going to sound different than monitor audio. And how they're going to sound different, that's really going to depend on your setup and your room and your personal listening habits, but they're going to sound different. Tonally, those three speakers are, I don't know if you'd be able to necessarily in a double blind be able to say, okay, that one's this one, that one's this one, that one's this one, but you'll definitely be able to tell, like, there'd be no way to trick you per se into like misidentifying that a speaker has been changed. So yeah, if you don't want a big then probably go with monitor audio. Other than that, B&W is going to right out of the gate probably impress you with its sensation of detail and just you're going to hear nuances in the music or movie that maybe you haven't really experienced before. And if you gravitate to that, if that hits you in the feels, then you're probably a B&W customer for life. But if that interest, that excitement wanes at any point, your infatuation with them might be short-lived. Arundel, look, I've had only the experience with the 1961 series, which you can't even get anymore. So I don't really want to comment. I thought the 1961 series was very good, but as for what they're doing now, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I just answered Dragonstone's question if we were going to review. What did they ask for? Some 15 something, and then like a bookshelf. I can't find Dragonstone's comment, and I just said no. They just don't appear to have an interest in us reviewing their products.
Arundel?
Yeah, Arundel. Oh. We've reached out to them. I told Andrew to start tagging them every time we got
I'm basically trolling them at this point.
Yeah, question on his AMAs on Instagram because, I mean, you know what? If you don't have the courtesy to just at least respond, then guess what? You're getting tagged.
Not even courtesy to respond to like a DM or anything like that, but like we're going through official channels like we did for the 1961 and all of that stuff, and we haven't even gotten a, hey, sorry, we saw your email. Things are really busy. Let's circle back. I mean, it's been nothing. So I'm not really sure what happened there. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off? Ooh, hey guys, getting into vinyl. Need a starter setup under $300. Auto needle drop is a must. Any recommendations for a player, amp, and speakers? Okay, well, you started off by just needing a turntable. Now we're building the whole system. So is the whole system under $300? Because if that's the case, I don't really know how to steer you. As for turntables, auto turntables,
those are so hard to come by.
Under 300. I mean, that's really kind of like Audio Technica. What was that one? That white one that we had.
Audio Technica?
The Audio Technica turntable, that little white one that we had in the bedroom for the longest time. We used it in our Small Spaces video, and we used it with a Kanto SID.
You know what? I keep talking. I'll try to find it.
That was a nice, tidy little beginner setup, to be honest with you. I don't know if Kanto still makes this SID. The SYD is how you spell it. But we did an Audio Technica.
It was 60. With the SID?
Yeah.
It was an LP60 Bluetooth turntable. I'm going to drop a link.
Yeah,
if it's still,
distro. Yeah,
if it's still working.
It might be in a new version or whatever, but it's tidy.
It comes in a bunch of colors.
It's fully automatic, tidy little turntable. Is it going to, destroy a turntable 10 times its price? Absolutely not. It won't. Will it destroy your records? Nope, it won't do that either. but it is a great starter turntable. Now, you can pair it with the SID, which is an all-in-one kind of boomboxy speaker from Kanto. That worked great, especially in a small space. You're not going to get true stereo imaging, but if you want the more true stereo imaging, just go get a pair of Kanto YU 4s, 5s, or 6s, which have a built-in phono preamp, volume control, the whole works. In which case you got turntable in the middle, 2 speakers off to the side. I think the turntable might be about $179.
It's $200.
$200. Kanto
Currently on sale.
Kanto YU4s, YU5s, YU6 are going to run you $200 to $400 a pair, depending on which one you get. And there's your starter system right there. And it's pretty solid. Pretty solid. And if you need HDMI, I think the new Kanto powered speakers, which we have, but I haven't opened yet, have HDMI now too, so that they would work with the TV.
I'm dropping you links to a couple of things for you in the chat box distro.
Okay. Luca, I just bought the Bowers & Wilkins 606 S3, and I am undecided about which amplifier to pair them with. The options are the Rotel A14 Mark II or the Marantz Model 50. Which one would you choose between the two? The Marantz Model 50 may sound ever so slightly softer or more polite, especially with the 606. I'm not saying crazy amounts. It's not going to...
Explain what polite means to you.
The 606s have incredible treble extension. Incredible. They do not roll off. So you will hear and feel that air and sparkle and that crystalline kind of sound that some digital recordings definitely have. But it can also lead to the plosives in a verse, or sibilance or articulation in the ligaments of a mouth, depending on how it's mic'd, to become more pronounced. If you like that level of intelligibility, detail, focus, intonation, whatever you want to call it, then you probably would be better suited by the Rotel. But if you're like, ooh, no, I would like a little bit of something that maybe naturally, without tone controls, doesn't gloss over those details, but maybe doesn't put as sharp a focus on them, and that would be the Marantz in my experience. And so that's what I mean by kind of polite. No one wants to sound spitty, you know? No one wants to sound like they got a little bit extra right here in the corner of their mouth, but sometimes you can hear that in a recording. And the Marantz just sort of goes, hey, you know, you got a little something right there, and it kind of tames it down just a little bit. That's it. It's not going to be like you're going from super lightning fast to just this slow, tubby pile. It's nothing like that. I just find that at the uppermost registers, and even a little bit in the bass, there's a smoothness, a roundness, just a little bit of softening with Marantz that Rotel at any level just doesn't seem to really have. So, Luca, Todd on Maui. I got the CalBrite Display Plus colorimeter for my TV based on episode 30. Have you done a video article on it to tell me what settings to target? No. The settings you want to target and how you want to do it, there are very clear broadcast standards. And there are very clear standards depending on each format of content that you want to watch, be it 720, 1080, HD, 4K, and beyond. So what you want to do is if you CalBrite Display Plus colorimeter, are you using their software, or did you also pick up CalMan? Because if you picked up CalMan, that's all built into it. Basically, when you're calibrating for an SD signal, which is Rec 709 or the like, I think it's now BT 1886, which is the white. Wait, I'm getting all my stuff confused. Rec 709, D65 or 1886. Once you just literally open CalMan and you do an SDR calibration, and it walks you through it, and then you make your adjustments, and now you have an SDR setting. When you do an HDR setting, same thing. It has the defaults already in it, and it walks you through it, and you go from there. And that is what I would recommend. Now, if you don't have CalMan, I don't know the Calibrite software. I don't use it. I use their meters, but I don't necessarily use their software. So I don't know how their software is set up. I use CalMan. Is everything okay?
Just crashed again.
Really?
Yep.
What is going on?
I don't know.
That is so bizarre. So bizarre. Okay. Alrighty. Alan, sorry. I had to check a setting, and everything on my end says we're good. Alan Brown, maybe a silly question, but what are you using to make your TV look like art with a frame, etc. in some of your reviews? It's called Artcast. It is an app on that we use through the Apple TV 4K. You can download it. The app is free. However, if you want the art to stay on your screen without changing or occasionally running a pop-up ad, and you want full access to all of the galleries that Artcast has licensed, it's $49 a year. $49 a year, you get unlimited use, no ads, and they update it a lot. That is what we use. Now, there is a free version. If you just download the app, that is free, and you run it, you will have art. But I think every 10 or 15 minutes, the art will fade out, and you're going to see an ad. It will run a full screen video ad of something. I tried it once in the free version, or I should say I had it and they never did this. And then they went to a pay model, and I didn't upgrade to the year subscription. And so I went to film a video. This was years ago. And, I was filming the video. It had the art on the TV. And then all of a sudden it was a Verizon ad. And I thought that I'd hit a button on the remote and change to a different app, but that's how it works now. That's how they're paying for it. So then I was like, oh no, that's bad, because I couldn't tell when it was going to come on. It was really annoying. So I just pay $49 a year, and I have all the art I could ever want. Artcast.
I feel like we get asked about that.
Every video.
Definitely every TV video we do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or, well, no, I guess it's not really TV.
Not TVs, but if if a video gets watched a lot right out of the gate, that comment is always in there. Always.
They should sponsor us.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Clem, my turntable is an SL1500C using the internal preamp with an ATV 540 ml, looking to upgrade the pre and maybe move to moving coil. Should I upgrade the table? Afraid this turntable will be the weak link. Thank you again. I've never heard anyone refer to the turntable, a Technics turntable, as being the weak link of anything. I'm not the right person to ask about moving coil, to be perfectly honest with you. I know our Cambridge Audio Alva TT uses a moving coil cartridge, but to be honest, that's the extent of my experience with moving coil. I've been a moving magnet guy forever. I can tell you, in comparing the cartridge that comes with the Alva TT V2 and one of my favorite cartridges of all time, which is the Ortofon Black, there isn't that giant of a difference. The Ortofon Black LVB is better than the Alva and better than the normal Black, but outside of that, how you should make your next jump or move, I'm apologies, Clem, but I don't feel comfortable trying to give you definitive answers on this one. Sorry. I have all Klipsch with 3 Polk HST12s, recommendations of a budget processor, and OSD audio over Outlaw. recommendation on about an OSD audio. And your thoughts on the Denon 3800H. I mean, at this point, I don't think there are budget processors. I think the budget processor is an AVR with preamp outs. And I know maybe that makes me evil or bad for saying that, and I'm sure there'll be a forum somewhere that goes, can you believe he just said that? But I mean, getting something like an Onkyo or a Marantz or a Denon with preamp outs, putting it into its preamp only mode, which effectively shuts the power section down, is as good as any processor that I've come across. And in a lot of ways, current AVRs, even cheap ones, have way more functionality and features than, quote, dedicated processors, you know? So that is how I kind of look at the processor issue. At this point, I don't know if I would ever buy a dedicated processor per se. I think I would get an AVR and give myself that flexibility. Thoughts on the Denon? Denon X series receivers in 2024, the models from 2024, I had no issues with. I don't like S series. X series is better. And I never really had an issue. They're not my personal choice or favorite, but they're still really good, you know? Just V. Got Monolith 15 on Black Friday, 50% off, but made a big error. Aside from its dimensions, got UK version, must transformer 24/7, is this safe? I have never used a power transformer ever in my system, so I'm not the guy to ask. Hopefully someone in the comments has been where you are and can assist you better, but I do not want to give anyone that type of, quote, power advice when it comes to converting, you know, European spec to US. It could work. I could also give you the wrong adapter or the wrong advice and start a fire. So I'm not going there. Phil, thanks Andrew and Kristi for everything you do. You guys are the best. Here's a couple of bucks for the coffee fund. Thank you,
so
Phil.
much.
Really appreciate that. Greg asks, is SACD still a thing? Are artists putting out new content? Are companies still supporting the standard? Well, I mean, I could argue that SACD was actually never really a thing. Did it exist? Absolutely. Did some people adopt it? You bet they did. Did Sony try really hard to make it the next thing? Sure did. Ultimately, I think its largest fan base ended up being in Japan, where it may actually still be manufactured and supported. But here in the States, I don't think anyone's supporting it. I don't think anything new is coming of it. So I think it's an entirely more of an import situation at this point, at least last I heard. Like I said, I'm not the world's foremost expert on SACD, let alone CDs. I stopped doing physical discs in the music realm a long time ago. But SACD was always a niche format from jump. And yeah, never really caught on or got widespread adoption. So is it still a thing? I don't think it is. Oh no.
What happened?
I just lost, YouTube just crashed on me. I just lost everything. Did we lose our live stream?
Say
I'm
something.
still live?
Yeah. I
Okay.
can still see you for once. You didn't crash for me.
Okay, so that was my thing. All right, hold on. Got to give me a second. I need to get my chat box back. Oh boy. I don't understand why we are
plagued with issues.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Just us.
Give me 1 second, guys. Welcome to live, everybody. Welcome to live. All right, let's see. Does this work now? Nope. Here we go. Let's try this again.
appreciate you guys staying with us.
Yes.
Oh, someone says now there's a dark screen.
Yeah, I should be back here momentarily.
Oh, I'm about to crash because nothing is moving. I'm just going to refresh. What a piece of garbage.
I should be back. Hopefully, I'm back.
Uh-oh.
Here,
Snap.
I'm gonna pop
That's
over.
what it says. Ah, snap. Something went wrong.
All right.
No shit.
Daddy Stove says it's back now. You're back again, Lisa. Thank you. All right.
Clem Fandango only going black when you're refreshing.
Well, I lost all of your chats, but I got them back. So don't think I'm not going to answer your questions. I got them all back, but my chat box completely crashed and went away. So anyway, kicking in here, or picking things back up. Vadim, just popping in to say hi. Wish everyone a lovely holiday season. Also, congrats on the B&O. Have to run, but we'll watch the recording of the stream. Best wishes. Thank you, Vadim, and we hope all is well with you. Yeah, so let's talk. Those are BLab 90s back there.
Or you want to...
I'm going to pause for a second.
You gonna pause for station identification?
Yeah, I'm just going to pause for a second. If you're just now joining us, welcome to the live stream. We've been at it for just under an hour. And yeah, those are BLab 90s in the flesh here in our home. And I can't believe it happened.
I can't either.
I can't believe it happened. It took so much effort on everyone's part, this one especially, just staying on Bang Olufsen, and then we made an acquaintance with a dealer, not in our area, but they reached out to us, and boy, they really wanted to see this happen too. And so shout out to Watt Integration for really being the people that put the final, I don't know, pressure or
no, they totally made this happen.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. Bang & Olufsen, we love their products, but
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah, Watt Integration got us over the finish line. And Watt Integration was also the one that helped us to bring you the BioLab 8 review. So big props to them. And yeah, they came and they installed these 300-pound. And normally I don't let brands enter this house, or representatives of brands enter this house and install speakers, because it's not indicative of the user experience. In this instance, and I would assume with more high-end speakers like, say, for example, Wilson Audio or whatever, I allowed it because this is part of the user experience. When you buy a speaker like this, it is professionally installed.
Yeah, just for the record,
Yeah.
anytime a company has, or a brand has said, hey, we want to send somebody down to install this. Like I can't remember the name of the brand that did this. I think J, what's his last name? Iyagi or something?
Yeah.
He reviewed them, but that particular brand wanted to come and actually physically set them up. And we were like, is this something you offer to anyone that buys? And they were like, no. And so we said, no.
Yeah, we try and replicate the end user customer experience as best we can. And when brands are like, hey, we'll come and set them up, it's like, unless you're going to do this for everybody, don't bother.
Yeah.
Because part of getting some of these products in-house is figuring out how to get them in your room. And if you're packaging, like for example, years ago, your packaging a la like Dolly wasn't up to snuff and products were arriving damaged. Like, I need to know that so that I can raise that issue. Whereas if a brand is hand delivering something, that may go unnoticed. And so that's why we have the policy. But with these, you can only purchase them through authorized Bang & Olufsen dealers, and the dealer will come and set them up for you. And what I mean by set them up is place them in their room, go through the calibration procedures, get them on your network, educate you on all of the features and whatnot, answer any and all questions that you have, get them to work with all of your other electronics. It takes depending on the crew from Watt Integration that came in and helped us, took two people 3.5, 4-ish hours to do the install on these, and they were absolute professionals. And if you live in the western part of the United States, I'm talking California to probably Texas, and you invest in something like this, there might be a chance that Watt Integration is the company that helps you. They handle pretty much the West U.S. from what I understand. So big props to them, absolute professionals. The photos that you'll see on the website do not do these speakers justice. And I will say I learned a lot about them that I had no idea was even a feature. I swear I've read the manual. I've read the website for these speakers cover to cover more than a dozen times over the course of several years. I've read the manual. There are things that these speakers have in them and can do. Hell, I even learned of the app within the app that I had no clue existed up until, a couple days ago. So yeah, I'm excited to bring you this one. It's going to be a very, very fun review. I know I took the wraps off of them yesterday on Instagram, and a lot of people thought that Kristi, being awesome as she is,
Because I am.
because she is, I mean, we know that, but they thought that she had bought these for me like as a Christmas present. These are not mine. These are on loan. These are demo. These are review. They are going to be returned. But I am grateful for the opportunity to get to spend the time that I get to spend with them. So that is the update. The review is not Sunday or the next day or anything like that. But obviously they're coming, and at 379 pounds each, you're going to see them for a minute because I can't move them. I can't move them at all. I can't budge them at all. So, yeah. So that is the update with Bang Olufsen. Shall we get back to questions?
Buster wants to know, when is the video with the 90s coming out? I mean, we literally just got them yesterday.
Yeah, they were finally installed yesterday. It will happen. I don't want to say sooner than later, but I don't have an infinite amount of time with these, but I will put them through their paces. So you won't have to wait as long as some of the reviews because I am on a bit of a schedule, but it will not be tomorrow or Sunday or even next week. So there you go. Let's see, where did I leave off? I left off with Vadim. Robert, did you mean to attach a question? Or, because I appreciate the support, I really do, but that looks like that's a pretty substantial amount, so I would want to make sure, Robert McCain, did he mean to ask a question?
I have no idea.
Okay. I can't click under there's no reply or anything like that, so.
I'll scroll through.
Okay.
Scroll through to see if I see something.
Okay.
But no, I not to my knowledge.
All right,
Maybe it was just a generous.
If it was just the generosity, Robert, really appreciate you. You've been using in-ceiling speakers with all types of other speakers. Have you ever encountered a bad pairing? I personally, not really. Like I said earlier in the stream, the only time our in-ceiling speakers stand out as being radically different or something that I take note of is when I'm using or being our setup against a speaker like the Era 300s, which is a totally different animal because that's a powered smart speaker, but can be put into rear speaker use if you're a Sonos customer and you have the ARC and all that. You really notice a difference when comparing our existing in-ceilings to speakers like that, and you should, because the Era 300 fires forwards, it fires to the side, it fires up, it does all sorts of really neat tricks. But compared to traditional speakers, not really. I don't really notice, especially if I'm running auto room correction like Odyssey or Dirac. So I don't think you need to necessarily dig deep and get matching in-wall or in-ceiling speakers. You can, if your budget doesn't allow, get close, make sure you keep the impedance and relative sensitivity and maybe driver size as similar as possible, driver material is similar as possible. But if you don't have it in you or the budget doesn't allow for you to stick within the same brand, I don't think it's that big of a deal. What is a good integrated amp for under $400? For reference, I'm using Polk SDA CRS compact speakers. I don't know those speakers. My go-to ultra budget integrated amp, now it doesn't have a built-in DAC or anything like that, but my two picks are Cambridge Audio's AXA 25 or 35, or I think it might be $499, but the AXR 100 from Cambridge, which is a stereo receiver, that does have a DAC built in. That's phenomenal. Those would be my two picks at that low price point. I would stay away from TI-based chip amps. I don't think they're very good. They're not all that reliable. And unless you're listening on a desktop in near field and don't plan on playing things too loud, you might be able to get away with them, but anything beyond that, I find that they're pretty finicky and they have issues. Marco, hi, I got Dirac full B, I think that means full bass control for my Cinema 50 with Q Acoustics 5050. Bass improved significantly, but the highs now sound too forward. Lowering them in EQ helps slightly. Which frequency range causes this, and how can I tweak it in Dirac? Not surprised. It's not that the treble likely was changed all that much, it's that it wasn't being overshadowed. Keep in mind, treble kind of starts in that 1, 2, 3K region. Once you get up into the 8, 10, 12K, you're talking about like more of an air and a sensation of presence, brilliance, things like that. But treble, starts lower than that, in which case in Dirac, you can grab the left side, the treble side, and I think naturally Dirac wants to do like about a -1. You can just bring that back to 0, in which case it's not going to attenuate anything, and your speaker's natural roll-off will take effect. Otherwise, just you can lower it, and I think depending on most speakers in our room on Dirac, I tend to lower the treble 1.5. And I raise the bass anywhere from 3 to 6, unless the speaker already is like all the way up here in the bass, in which case I bring it down to like +3, +6, somewhere in there. But yeah, I'm not surprised that you noticed improved clarity. Anytime you can get bass notes to act right, things definitely improve upstream, which is something we're going to get into in Sunday's video. Greg just picked up the Sony XR 98-inch on sale, $3,000 off. Thank you for your previous discussion about it. Made the choice simple. Using optical out to a 2-channel system is fine since there's no surround or Atmos in this system. Yeah. If your integrated or preamp doesn't have HDMI, optical is the next best thing. You may obviously be in a position where you have to use 2 remotes, a remote to turn on your television and then a remote to control volume and input selection on your preamp since it doesn't have HDMI. But unless the remote can learn, the Sony remote can learn. I haven't tried that. But yeah, totally doable. We do it all the time. I prefer HDMI for convenience factor and some enhanced audio capability. But if you don't have anything in the chain to take advantage of that, optical's great. Bodie McBoatface, Merry Christmas. Have thought about doing an update on the Eversolo DMP8. Okay, I got to read your other question here. Hold on. Have thought about doing an update on the Eversolo DMP8 due to its feature update with room correction and independent PEQ per channel. Will I do an update video on that? Probably not. Have I played with it? Yes. I don't know if I would say that it's game changing or radically different. I mean, yes, it's now independent and that's great. The room correction is, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a Dirac. It's not an Odyssey. It's just sort of it'll create the curve for you. So it's definitely easier. It's definitely something that if you don't want to go down rabbit holes of REW, Room EQ Wizard or REW, you don't have to. But would I say that the experience is like radically night and day better? Nope. It's just kind of an enhanced experience now. It's just a little bit of an added bonus. I don't think it's enough to make a video on though. But Merry Christmas to you too. CD Murray, need a replacement for NAD T778. It died. I have a 7.2.2 setup with monitor platinum, monitor gold, SVS for the rest, and subs. I'm looking at Cinema 30, Sony 7000, Onkyo RX70. Is Sony still your number one? Sony is still my number one in terms of spatial audio placement and overhead and surround effects. Spatially, the 7000 does eke out the win in terms of just how it sort of places sounds around you in a room, especially if your situation is like ours, where maybe you have your Atmos and your surrounds in ceiling. The Sony can be excellent. Apart from that, though, especially now that I've made the RZ30 my kind of affordable, obtainable reference receiver. I love Dirac, and now that I have Dirac bass management and bass control on the RZ30, like it just keeps getting better. So honestly, given the experience I just had with Monitor Audio Golds and the RZ30, I would probably say that the Onkyo RZ70, if you want a spring for the bass control, which I would urge you to do, you're going to have an insane experience. And it may be worth that 5%, 10% tops decrease in like spatial, like, ooh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. And especially if you're not using in-ceiling speakers like we are, you may not have as big of a difference or jump in spatial placement with the Sony. So I think the Onkyo 70 is probably going to be the winner there. It jumped on me. It jumped. Always jumps. There it is. Oh, come on. Load. Thanks for the advice. Decided against a processor only. I got the Onkyo RZ50 and the Denon 3800 in my cart. Which to pull the trigger on and why. I mean, I would buy the RZ50 just because I know it's going to be cheaper than the Denon. It has Dirac already in it. So you're not going to have to spend extra for it. Not that the Denon is bad. The Denon, I believe, has true independent subwoofer outputs, whereas the RZ50's outputs are, while there are two subwoofer outs, they are summed. They are the same signal, whereas you can split the 3800Hs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm probably going to go with the RZ50 because ours was so rock solid before we moved to the RZ30. But yeah, that's just me. That's my that's what I would go based on my own personal experience. You may feel differently. Happy holidays, Scott. Are you doing anything fun for Christmas? Well, it's right behind me. No, we're I don't know. We're trying to figure out what our schedule is going to be. We may end up kind of doing something after the Christmas rush dies down and kind of taking some time off. But I don't know if we have like plans for Christmas yet.
We don't. It's really difficult to make plans this time of year because inevitably it's one of the busier times when
Yeah.
it comes to YouTube
Yeah.
and needing to put out content. And then when you also consider that for us, if we go anywhere or take any time off, we have to work ahead because we still have to put content out, even though we may not physically be
Here.
in the office or at home or whatever to do
Yeah.
it. So that creates its own scheduling concerns, and so we'll probably do something maybe at the beginning of January
That's
when
what
everything's kind of slowed down and
Yeah.
people are like, I can't deal with anything. They're
Yeah, and there's definitely a lull
yeah.
in the YouTube game towards the end of January into February, and so that's usually when we take some time off. So, but here we're probably working straight through December just because there's a lot to get through still, and logistically there's a lot of stuff that we still have to be available for. I know that next week something is arriving. We're not even going to remotely have it like ready for y'all on the channel until the new year, but that's a project that's not a project, but that's a request that's taken almost a full year to come to fruition, and that arrives next week. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
We have to celebrate my birthday too.
Yeah, we still haven't really celebrated your birthday. Like you got a live stream on your birthday as a celebration. So
Yes.
I owe you birthday and holidays and just something for 2024. You and I just getting through it with the construction. Like we've been tethered to this house all year between construction and job and stuff. So yeah, I think January we're probably gonna bail for at least a week.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eddie Tours. Appreciate that. Improved Garage. Busy at work, but wanted to stop by and say hi. Hope you're both doing well. That you have a great Christmas.
So nice.
Watch this back later. P.S. I would love to see a future review of a Node icon. Noted.
Is that
That's the new
Blue Sound?
Blue Sound. Everyone knows. Well, Noted. We may end up just having to buy it, but that's going to be a 2025 thing. But we'll do our best. Happy Friday the 13th. Oh, it's Friday the 13th.
It sure is.
I had no idea. Lisa B says, this has been a great hour. So sorry I have to leave, but I have a class. Hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. Well, thank you, Lisa.
She's the best.
She's awesome. Hope you're well and enjoy your class. Demand. Pair of Macintosh MC611 monoblocks versus MC462 stereo amp. Would I notice a difference in sound quality between the two? Is it worth the difference for monoblocks? Both are enough wattage. Focal, Sopra, and 2 towers. Okay. I don't know exactly which ones those are, so give me 1 second. Let me see if I can... Macintosh MC611. 611 is... Oh, come on. You can do it. That's a beast, dude. That's... Okay. All right. MC462. Okay. So you're going from 600 watts a channel mono to 450 potential watts across 2. I mean, honestly, I don't like boxes as pretty as Macintosh boxes are and as good as they are, and as much as I do love them, I don't like boxes, so I would get the stereo one. I can't imagine a scenario where the MC462 is like gonna pull up short. I just can't picture it. I just can't. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And I'm basing that, having heard neither product, I'm just basing that on, if it were me, I want less clutter. I want less things to have to worry about. I would get the 2-channel version since it's already Herculean power. So that's what I would do. Maximum Warp. Thoughts on music streaming services. Tired of Spotify, and I am trying Tidal. I'm enjoying the music. I am enjoying the music. It's quality, but the interface I'm using through my RZ50 leaves something to be desired. Look, Tidal on the Onkyo app is not great. I will be the first to admit it. I do not like it. Is it possible? Yes. But the Onkyo app is not my favorite. It's functional, but at a bare minimum. I use Apple Music and I use Tidal. Those are the two services I use, and I begrudgingly have two because obviously having two is overkill.
Annoying.
It's overkill and it's annoying. The reason
To me, anyway.
The reason I have two is Apple Music is not natively supported everywhere, and so I did renew my Tidal Premium Max, whatever top tier subscription is, so that I can properly advise and test and comment on the built-in integration of streaming services like Tidal. Now, we are Amazon Prime members, which gives us Amazon Music. I hate Amazon Music. I do. That is an interface on any platform that I've just never liked. And I also run into, with at least Amazon Music, I'll go search for something and they don't have it. I've never run into that with a service, but I run into it all the time with Amazon Music, especially if you like some more obscure electronica or jazz. It's not on there. It's just not on there. So yeah. Tidal is great.
I love Apple Music. It's my favorite.
It's my favorite too, yeah.
Didn't Spotify just do something pretty cagey?
I don't
recently?
follow. I've never been a Spotify customer. Never. I've never given that company my time or my energy.
I used to use them when they first came out, but I switched when you did to Apple Music, and
Yeah.
I just prefer it. It's easy. And I'm an iPhone user, so that just makes sense. But yeah, I'm pretty sure not Tidal, but Spotify did something with how they're paying artists. I'm pretty sure they're one of the worst as far as how much they pay artists for their streaming.
Oh yeah.
It's like 0.03 cents.
Oh, you need a few more zeros.
Maybe 0.003 cents. I don't know. It's just awful.
Yeah.
And so I think if you Google Spotify, there's something that just recently, in like the past couple of weeks, I think they did something else to upset people. So,
Well, he's tired of Spotify, so he's shifting to Tidal. But I don't think you should judge Tidal based on its integration inside an Onkyo app. Admittedly, the Onkyo app it's pretty terrible when it comes to integrating Tidal. But Tidal on its own as a service, I like it, but my preference is Apple Music.
G Papa says he loves Qobuz. Isn't that what, like, if you go to, for example, a hi-fi dealer and they're pulling up, isn't that what they use?
A lot of people use Rune, which Rune is basically a great way to integrate multiple services and your personal, ripped collection into one user experience. I used Rune for about a year, and when we lived in Austin, and I was working out of the office, I used Rune, and is it cool? Yeah. Is it neat? Yeah, it's great. It's a nice service, but ultimately I stopped using it because I'm like, I am kind of sort of paying a premium on top of all of these other services just to make my experience feel cohesive. And I didn't really need that. And then once I ditched Rune, I started whittling down the services I subscribed to, and that's when I ultimately made, I think it's the Worker. And that's when I made the final leap to like Apple Music and just stuck with it. So Yeah, that's also one of the, and I know I've said this in another live stream, but that's one of the funny things about streaming. As I know streamers and the concept of streaming, I mean, it's a big business right now. It is almost topic number one on everyone's mind. And I just look at it and I go, how many streaming services, especially when it comes to music, do we need? Like, it's great that all of these players, play like 15 different services and whatnot, but are you really subscribed to 15 services? So that's kind of my thing. It's like, well, I hear a difference with this streaming service versus this one. I'm like, not really. Not really. I'd make sure it just has the music that you want, which in this case, for me anyway, in my music listening taste, I can vouch for Apple Music and Tidal, but I can't vouch for Amazon Music. Wirehead, just wondering if you encountered strange stage and sound field imaging when listening to mono sources on the Marantz M1 with virtual. I don't have any mono sources that I'm familiar with. I did note in that review that not every stereo track sounds great with virtual, and that some tracks may exhibit some phase issues when trying to kind of faux create that virtual surround field. Doesn't happen with Dolby stuff in stereo when watching movies, but it definitely can occur every now and then with stereo. As for mono, I don't have any direct experience. Sorry. Wow, it's our 2-year anniversary. Your review of the Focal Diablo Utopia Evos convinced me to buy them without an audition. Your channel is a bright star in a sea of questionable. I just crashed again.
Ignore the haters.
Ignore the haters.
We will.
We will.
We will, Michael. We'll try.
Apologies if you're going to see a black screen for just a second. I give up. I give up. My early New Year's resolution, everyone. I am going to consult with professionals to get to the bottom of our network or whatever issue this is, because I am officially over it.
Well, I think YouTube is being problematic for other people as well. So I don't know if it's just on our end.
Well, I just want everyone to know that I am deeply, deeply sorry, and I am over it. Anyway, ignore the haters. We always do our best. We always do our best to do that, and I'm hopeful that you are enjoying those focals, because they are terrific, terrific speakers. And thank you for gifting people some memberships. It's very kind of you. Happy holidays, K&A. I purchased the Sony Quad based on your review and loved it, but wanted to ask if Sony will release a new subwoofer in 2025. Love your channel. Thank you. I don't know. That is not something that even anecdotally or off the record, anything remotely subwoofer related has been shared with me. I don't know. If I had a crystal ball, I don't think so. I think their opportunity to do it was when they launched the new Bar 9 and the new theater quad. So I don't know.
I mean, won't they be at CES? So
if they're going to do something,
you'll know in
January.
Oh, January.
You'll know in January.
Is that when it is?
Yeah, it's the first week.
Why? Why would they do CES? I mean, I guess I get it because it's the beginning of the year, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh. The timing of some of these press conferences and shows, it's like, come on, we would like to have a life.
We need a break.
Right?
Pure Jerry writes, recently rebuilt some 1976 La Scalas, and I'm looking for a great amp pairing. Thinking Macintosh, but not sure if it's tubey enough. Macintosh would be great. for those. It's going to be a great pairing. I remember having the 7200 on the La Scalas, albeit the new ones, the version 5 or whatever they are now. And that was wonderful. Wonderful. Loved it on our deckwear, but that's got a 30-year waiting period, apparently. I'm exaggerating. I think it's 3 years. Tubey enough, huh? You could always go with something. If you're looking for that kind of more vintage 1976 sound, you could always try and spec and go find a vintage Macintosh or a vintage tube amp that could fit that bill for you. But I think Macintosh and Klipsch is a great pairing. Every time we've done Macintosh with our Cornwalls, we did Macintosh with the La Scalas. I've done Macintosh with Heresy, and I've never been disappointed. Never. Joel super chatted. I think he attached his question below his super chat, and it's in the little drop down that I don't have access to in my.
All right, give me a minute.
Okay. Joel, we're going to come right back to you, but I'm going to answer. Do you see the $4.99 Joel super chat?
I am looking. Okay. I think this is it. I have a WEM Ultra
Okay.
and Sony STR 190, so a stereo receiver.
Yep.
I want to upgrade the amp and I'm thinking the Emotiva A2 using the WEM as a preamp, or going to an integrated like the Cambridge AXR 100. Thoughts?
In your case, given those two options, I would go with the Emotiva and just use your WIM as a preamp, because then you're not rebuying DACs and all that extra stuff, since the WIM already has all of that built in. So that's what I would do. And you're going to have more adjustability that way, because as I understand it, the WIM Ultra, the app and all of that's going to be better than the basic remote and analog experience, the all old school analog experience, if you will, of the Cambridge. So that's what I would do. Hi, Yamaha versus Denon AVR. I prefer neutral. A friend said Denon was worse 20 years ago in A/B test. Has it improved? If you prefer neutral, go Yamaha. Just, there you go. Like, there you go. That's if you prefer neutral, you want just the signal, just the facts, Yamaha.
I feel like, Denon, I guess Denon isn't neutral. It's
going to measure neutral,
warm
but
to me.
It's soft.
Soft.
It's a little, yeah.
Denon is my least favorite.
You like the higher end Denon, but
Yeah.
Okay.
It was better than the other stuff, but it's not. I just don't like their sound. It's
Okay.
very laid back. It's too boring. No offense, Denon, but
There you go.
that's
You heard it here, folks.
those are my thoughts.
I would go Yamaha in this instance.
Yeah, or Marantz.
Yeah.
I'd get a Marantz
Watched your video on in-ceiling speakers.
or an Anthem.
Another great.
Throwing a wrench into your whole program.
Anthem's pretty good. As long as you don't mind a little fan noise and can live with some pretty slow HDMI switching. Watched your video on in-ceiling speakers. Were they put in the ceiling as is, or were baffles used? I'd hate for my CDT 5800Cs to get all messed up. You and Kristi have a wonderful Christmas. Were baffles used? I guess maybe I am not understanding what you mean here. Were baffles used? Ours are put in, they're in between joists in the drywall. We didn't put like a cross beam or anything like that. And our clips are, admittedly, they're open backed. And one of the things that I want to change in the new year is go to a closed backed design, which may require additional bracing depending on the size or the speakers we choose. But no, the clips are dog-eared to drywall. Jay Lauren would love your thoughts on Power Node versus M1. I prefer the M1 compared to our old Power Node because we do have the old version or the original Power Node still in house. And I prefer the M1. The M1 to me has obviously a few more features now. It's newer. The virtual mode is quite nice. It feels a little more responsive in terms of commands, since they're both largely or entirely app-based. I mean, they have some touch-sensitive controls, but I never use those. Sound-wise, I think the M1 sounds more like more powerful, more controlled, more competent and confident. So I just prefer the M1. And then looking at the two side by side, like on our bench, M1 all day. As a watch enthusiast, do you like Flieger watches? IWC, Leica, Stowa, okay, or field watches, Hamilton, Rolex, Explorer. You know what? I have not been into this hobby long enough to have developed sort of a taste or a style. I definitely feel like there's 1,000,001 diver watches. I mean, if I may go on a little bit of a rant, I didn't realize there were so many divers in the world. Like every watch seems like seriously, I've been circling the sun, same as a lot of people for a while. Never run into a diver. Never. I'm not saying there aren't divers and I don't run in diver circles, but honestly, if you're into watches, you would swear that all of us, and I do mean this, everyone that has ever worn a watch likes to spend their Saturdays deep sea diving. I just don't get it. Like, and the amount of like just wow content and debate and anger that flows through YouTube over what is and is not a good diver's watch is like, wow. When are we all going? When are we all going? Spearfishing, because I don't think it matters.
Fake KLG says, and aviators. Lots of pilots out there.
Oh yeah, everyone that wears watches flies to some remote ocean location, changes their watch, and then goes diving. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I just want a watch that looks good with my outfit, tells time with relative accuracy, and is built well. It's not gonna die on me or anything like that. I do know that I like mechanical watches. I like the idea of not having to ever swap out a battery or anything like that. Not to say that you can't get a great watch with a battery, but that's just my personal taste. I like the mechanical side of stuff. But other than that, like, I mean, I don't have like I said, I have about 4 watches on my list. At the highest end, I want a Cartier Santos. And the reason I want that is it's arguably one of the most iconic watches ever made. And it's still to this day one of the only watches that really, in my opinion, looks different from a lot of watches, and what's strange is there are people that kind of definitely take some design cues from it. Definitely people trying to make their version of a Cartier. What's the other Cartier watch? It's not the Santos. Was it the Dumont, which is the more narrow one? Definitely get people knocking that off. But no one really tries to go after the Santos. And I think that speaks volumes to its design and its heritage and its lineage and why it is a classic piece. Whereas there's 1,000,001 Rolex knockoffs. Now, I'm not saying that makes them as good as Rolex. No. But you could fool somebody into thinking you have a Rolex, and so I know that there's no substitute for the real thing, but like I said, there's just 1,000,001 divers watches. So I'm into some diver watches that are just a little less ostentatious, a little less like, look at me with all the gears and the thing. Aviators, the multi-dial watches, stuff like that, I don't like those at all. Like the last thing that I want to do is look down at my watch and be confused as to which dial I'm supposed to look at. And I get that on a lot of ways. You know, maybe it's not even about telling time. It's just the precision of the machinery. And it really is nothing more than a bracelet, you know, a fashion accessory. But I use my watch. I have a meeting and I have a Zoom in 10 minutes. I have to get off of this. Like, I look down at it all the time. And the last thing I want to do is look down at it and be like, oh, wait, no, it's the bigger, is it the small dials? Is it big? I don't know. So, and I also find that I don't like skeletal watches all that much because
Are those the kind that you can
kind of see through? Yeah.
Where you see the mechanical?
Yeah.
Not a fan.
I like the skeletal back on the underside. Like if I take my watch off and, you know, wind it, and I want to be able to admire it that way. But again, I call me a simpleton, but I just like something clean. So there's a Seiko Cocktail Time Star Bar. They only made 900 of them, I think. They're already sold out. It's not an expensive watch, but I do like that watch that I have my eye on. I saw a King Seiko the other day that I thought was very nice. There's a Seiko Samurai, which is a diver's watch, of all things, that I think is also very nice. I have a couple of German watches in my saved folder that I think are gorgeous, very Bauhaus, minimal. And then, Cartier Santos. But for now, honestly, my Orient Bambino, holding it down. Just holding it down.
I love that watch.
I love this watch.
It's so...
I would even buy another one in a slightly different style or finish just to have a leather strap version.
It came with a leather strap.
Well, I know, but I don't like change. It's not the easiest thing to change. So I would literally spend so that I could have even the same watch, but, you know, nice leather strap. But all right, we're getting off topic. Nathaniel has a question.
I have no idea where it's at.
It's nested here. I can't see that.
It's not nested in... I tried to get them to nest it in the...
Well, I'm seeing 3.
I know, but it's
not there?
The question's not there.
Oh.
I don't know. It's really impossible to scrub through and find everything. If you don't paste your comment to the super chat, there's just no guarantee that I can find it.
Wishbone says Seiko. Yes, I do like that line a lot. I do. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Christopher Ward, Joel. That's that online brand that some people kind of come out of nowhere and people are talking about. So,
yeah, unfortunately, who was it?
Nathaniel says he's posting again.
Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I don't see it. I never saw it even after your initial super chat.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for it because I am caught up. I managed in 90-ish minutes. I caught up, so now I am.
Well, do you want to talk about some of your favorite products this year?
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this, guys. We're at that part of the show where we're gonna do our unofficial, official wrap up. What category do you want to start with?
Speakers, probably.
All right, let's go budget speaker. So our budget speaker is anything under 1,000.
I don't know. No, I'm not putting
We're
any
not-
sort of
criteria on it.
price point because everyone's idea of what budget means to them is different, and I don't really give a crap about having that sort of argument. So I'm just gonna say what I think my favorite
Your favorite just speaker.
budget speaker.
Budget speaker.
And this is budget to me.
Okay.
If it isn't to you, sorry.
Budget speaker, Kristi's pick.
The ELAC 3.0.
100% in agreement. Keep in mind
High five.
Keep in mind to win, you have to be reviewed this year. And there you go. So ELAC.
Congratulations, ELAC.
ELAC debut 3.0 bookshelf speakers, $4.99 a pair. We
reviewed them. Go check out the review.
Awesome.
Use the link in the description.
They were awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Okay. I see, I don't know how to pronounce your name. It's Netanel.
Okay. Nathaniel?
I don't know.
Anyway.
But we found
I got it. I changed my living room layout, and now my couch is 13 feet away from the TV. Looking to upgrade my 65-inch OLED TV. Wonder if the 85 Bravia 9 will be big enough, or should I get bigger? At 13 feet, 85 will obviously be bigger and more immersive than 65, but at 13 feet, you definitely have the seating distance wise to accommodate the 98-inch model of any ilk. Whether that's a TCL, whether that's another brand, Sony, that's up to you. But at 13 feet, so long as your wall can accommodate it, you are a candidate for a proper viewing distance of a TV of that size. You can totally get away with 85. You will like an 85, but I'm just letting you know at 13 feet away, 98 is a possibility for you. So thank you for coming back, and I'm glad we were able to answer your question. I want to go back to, so we have Budget Speaker of the Year. We did ELAC. So now I want to go with...
Clem Fandango says, which soundbar named Dragon was your favorite?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
I just want to say real quick.
Yeah.
Somebody left a comment wanting to know what we thought about the Dragon versus the Sony something another. This was a comment on one of the reviews, and sometimes I go in as Andrew and I respond to comments. It's fine. It's fine. I do it. Sometimes you're talking to me because he's busy. Anyway, I replied to this guy as Andrew, and I'm like, it's covered in the video. Like, it's literally covered in the video.
Yeah, there's
he's
a chapter.
commenting on.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back and asks, and I give him the link. I actually gave him the link. I did the job for him. Comes back, asks the question again. I'm like, watch the mother effing video. Sorry, just chaps my hide. Fuck the Dragon.
Oh, jeez.
We bought the thing, and then we spent all of our time reviewing it, put all the work and hours and efforts into putting the video out, and this person expects me to hand feed them the answer. No. Sorry.
Oh, man. Oh.
Andrew's like,
the clip
oh, God.
that just launched 1,000 chips.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Every channel out there who will find their time to make another reaction video, you're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. All right. Okay.
Can y'all tell it's the end of the year and I'm out of Fs?
We're out of
I'm
it.
out of them.
All right.
I'm out of them. I didn't get to go for my birthday anywhere. Didn't go to, no.
Birthday, anniversary, holidays.
No.
We've skipped all of them.
Yeah. So sorry.
Okay.
I've reached my limit. That's right, John. Reached my limit.
All right. So.
Yeah, Chad. So I'm picking up subtle nuances that you don't like the Dragon. You are just you must have like a very high IQ, because you're right. And what is even funnier, like if you go to the Dragon review, the thumbnail literally says nothing but smoke. Like the guy didn't even have to actually click play.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right.
All right. What are we talking about now?
Well, okay. We're going to go back to speakers. And so we have our best budget speaker.
Yep.
Now, to me, I don't feel the need. There's technically kind of a middle of the road speaker, and then we have cost no object.
Yeah, I
So-
think we just throw them all together.
So I think budget is budget. I think we throw the rest of them together and we do what is the speaker of the year.
Oh, gosh.
Now you got to think here for a second.
Yeah, I do. I have
'Cause-
to think.
While we don't do as many reviews as we have in previous years, we do still do quite a few speaker reviews. So this would include like the Leak Sandwich 250, which we liked. This
I
would
did like it. Forgot about it.
this would include the Wharfdale Super Denton.
It's not
That's
it.
a budget. That's more of a budget thing.
Good, but not
Good.
it.
This would include the new KEF Q11 Metas.
Not it.
Not it. Okay.
Not that they were bad.
Not that they were bad. Actually, they punched well above their weight. We would have the
Leek Sandwich. Man, Elliot Cole is just dropping the funnies today. Popular in Wales.
well, that's what the speaker's called.
The Leek Sandwich.
The Leak Sandwich. That's what it was called.
No,
it's
I
not-
know. It
okay.
says it's popular in Wales.
Well, it's from the UK.
So.
All right, anyway.
Maybe it's more about leeks being in a sandwich. I don't know.
We have the SVS Titans were this year.
Yes.
We have the Bowers and Wilkins 800 signatures, which were this year. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to leave.
Did we do a Martin Logan this year?
No, we
Did
didn't.
we didn't do a Q acoustic this year? Was that this year or last year? The 5040?
5040 was. Hold on, I'm pulling it up. I've got it right here. See how we're so prepared.
Yeah.
All right, so here are your options. Non-powered, passive.
Yep.
Okay. Monitor Audio Gold 100s. Just did them. No one watched it. Anyway, doesn't take anything away from the speaker.
Very good speakers.
Yep. JBL Stage 2.
What a piece of crap.
KEF Q11 Meta. We already announced the ELAC was our budget speaker of the year. Bowers and Wilkins 705 S3.
Those were
Bookshelf
great.
speakers.
Great.
800 signatures.
The expensive ones.
Yep. Leak Sandwich. Wharfdale Super Denton.
Yep.
Emotiva Air Motive XT2s.
Also a piece of crap.
Ain't in it. That ain't it. SVS Titan or the Focal Evo X, the green ones.
Good, great, but not
it?
Not my favorite.
Yamo Studio 7s, which would be budget, so we're past that.
No.
KLH Kendall 2Fs.
Ooh, I forgot about those. Those could be up there with, if you're
ELAC.
if you're looking for a tower speaker and you're on more of a budget. Again, I don't care what you think budget is. Let's just be reasonable people here. The F2s are excellent. Excellent. I don't know why more people didn't catch on to that video or that particular speaker. Maybe they were just KLH'd out
Yeah.
after all the model
5 and 3.
number fill in.
Yeah.
But great.
Okay.
Great speaker. Great tower. Really nice looking finish. Yeah, it's like a sticker thing.
No, that one.
Was that one
That one was real.
Okay.
That one was real. That one was good. That was a good.
Forget what I just said. They were really pretty.
So
Was that it?
that's it. Those are the speakers.
Okay. The Titans are by far the winner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to not also acknowledge the Bowers and Wilkins super expensive 80 whatever diamond,
Signature.
the blue ones.
Yep.
Those were amazing. And if you just had all sorts of money and this was something you're really passionate about, I would not hesitate in recommending those signature speakers. They're just so good.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, they're well crafted. No complaints. Could watch them with movies and music. They have no limitations. In my
No, I would agree with you.
opinion, in my opinion.
There was nothing they couldn't do at an incredibly high level.
Yeah.
Love them to death.
But the Titans
but the Titans are actually minus finish and build, you know, they're up there in what they're able to do. And the more time that I spend with our Titans and the more that I use them and the different ways that I play with them and the different systems we've built around them, the more I'm just like, I don't know if I've had more fun with a $3,000 to $5,000 speaker in recent memory than I have with the Titans.
I agree. They really surprised me because I will admit I have not been an SVS speaker fan. I've not been the biggest fan. I'm not saying they don't have, good products in terms of their speakers, the non-subwoofer products, but they haven't been my favorite. I thought the design, like the look of the speaker, was more interesting than things that I've seen them put out in the past. I would love to see them come out with this particular speaker in like a matte paint job.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think SVS with the new R Evolution line across the board, they're a couple of finish options away from being like high end, like being seen not so much as value high end
Didn't I
leaders.
just say that?
And we raised that issue in the Monitor audio review. Yeah. But for those people that didn't see it, like if SVS were to figure out a way to do something other than gloss black or gloss white, it can even be a color, but really get that finish down. I think that's the final piece.
I agree.
To elevate them to that next tier.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
The Monitor audio golds that we just reviewed were really, really exceptional as well.
Big surprise.
Very much a surprise for us.
Big surprise.
There were a lot of good speakers. Just because we don't call them our favorite or our of the year speaker doesn't mean.
Yeah.
It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody has one. If you like something different,
that's cool
then that's
too.
cool. I mean, Brian 1988 says it seems like this year was not a great year for new speakers. None of the speakers you mentioned were a buzz this year.
Can I speak on that?
I was hoping you would.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up.
I think we need to be aware that when a new speaker comes to market or a new product of any kind comes to market, it is the job of the manufacturer, the builder, whoever is releasing it, to create interest in it, whether that's FOMO or makes you want to buy it in that moment. That's debatable, but they should create some sort of interest on a broader scale towards it. And I think that, in a lot of ways with a lot of products, especially now that we're now a full year, if not 2 full years, time has no meaning to me, so I apologize. 1 full or 2 full years away from what we all went through with the pandemic, and now a much more kind of normalcy that we can relate to as, life before, and people's schedules being different. Yes, work from home is still a thing, but I just think that we ingested so much new, and we were all in a kind of FOMO spin cycle that I really do think that the consumer market is a little bit exhausted. I think people are just tired. We love each and every one of you for watching our videos and watching our streams and interacting with us, and we love that about this community. But I sense exhaustion in you guys, and I know that you, in some levels, probably sense it in me, because it's like you're just always sort of ping-ponging between the next thing. And I don't want to say there weren't speakers that weren't hyped this year. Holy cow, there were. But I think a lot of people took this year to do inventory, kind of take stock and go, you know what, I think I'm good. And anytime that happens, that can always kind of tamp down on the perceived excitement. There were some really, really great products this year. There really were. And we're not a channel that's able to bring you absolutely everything just because I'm not capable of doing 12 videos or more a month at the level that we do them. So you get kind of 8, which is really 4 because it's 4 reviews, and then you get our long format, just kind of unscripted, kind of after the fact, which still takes an inordinate amount of time to put together. But yeah, and I also think that it didn't help that there were a number of buzzworthy products, at least in our experience. There were a number of buzzworthy products this year that ultimately did not live up to their hype. And I think some people caught on to that too and kind of felt like maybe a little bit of a step back was necessary because they realized that not everything is what it says it is. So yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel, Brian, about your question. It's a great question. But for me, yeah, the speaker of the year, as much as the 800s were just such a great experience, the speaker of the year is the SVS Titan.
Oh yeah.
It just is.
Is that really everything? Did you go through all
I went through the entire year.
I feel like we're missing something.
No, I mean, certain budget ones, we already did the ELAC. And
yeah.
so, yeah, we didn't, I mean, there's 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
So the maximum number of reviews that we will do in any given year is 52, and we did not do 52 reviews this year. We skipped some weeks.
Okay.
So anyway, let's move on.
Okay. What are we moving on to?
Let's do amplifier of the year.
I thought we already did.
Well, you called yours.
Yeah, the Marantz Model M1.
Marantz? Easy?
Easily. Hands down.
Hands down.
Such a great amp.
Yeah, I would agree. I have a tie.
Okay.
I can't decide. They are vastly different. I agree with you. The Model M1 from Marantz on there, but...
Hit me with it. Just hit me with it.
Macintosh MC312.
Yes. I agree.
Macintosh MC312.
Super duper.
Now that is just an amp. Whereas the M1 is kind of an integrated, all-inclusive solution, but we're going to put them in the same category. We're not going to separate it by budget. So Marantz Model M1 and the Macintosh MC312. Congrats.
Yes, congrats.
Joint amplifier of the year. I want to move on. This one, we gotta fight on our hands here. Best sound bar of the year.
Oh, jeez.
Here are your options.
Yeah, tell me my options.
Soundbar of the year. Here we go. This includes the Sonos Arc Ultra system we just reviewed. This includes the Canvas.
Oh, right, the Canvas. Okay.
This includes the Nakamichi Dragon.
We already know what I think about the Nakamichi Dragon.
The Samsung Q990D, the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The Sony Bravia Bar 9. The Sony Theater Quad.
Yep.
The Yamaha True X 50A. Don't even remember that one, to be honest.
It's solid.
It's solid.
For like a more budget friendly.
$300. It's good.
Very good. Very serviceable.
And those are your soundbar choices.
Oh my gosh. So let me make sure I got it right. The Arc Ultra, the Q990D, the Quad,
Theater
Sony
Quad.
Bar 9. I can already eliminate that.
Canvas. And you already eliminated the Nakamichi.
Yeah, was never even in the running. Man. Oh, this one's really hard. Really hard. I really liked all of the ones that I did. Let me start over.
Okay.
I really liked everything I mentioned, minus the ones I said eliminated were not in the running.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't think you could go wrong with any of them. They're all kind of different. The budgets are prices points are a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Some, like the quad, will do better with for, I think, people that are coming from a more traditional hi-fi setup,
Mm-hmm.
because the speakers can be separated. So you have that, whatever, two channel
Stereo imaging,
stereo
yeah.
imaging, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Sonos Arc Ultra. Did I ruin your day?
You didn't. I agree with you.
Really?
I do.
What do you know?
I agree with you. Overall, pound for pound, given that the price points are pretty much identical, what Sonos gives you at around $2,500.
Well, are we just talking about the bar or the whole thing? Like all the extra components?
I'm talking about what we reviewed.
Okay.
Which is
I was particularly speaking. See, I'm very
Well, then,
I'm very
but
literal.
I would
as you
still,
love to tell me.
but I would still do the bar, because the Sony Theater Quad, as cool as it is, on its own as they sell it without an SW3 or 5
It's
subwoofer
incomplete.
included, is not great. It needs the sub. It sounds weird without a sub.
I agree.
So I'm
if we're
still picking the Arc.
Yeah. So if we're just talking about a standalone bar,
Yeah.
even if the other stuff comes with, like someone mentioned the Q990D, but it comes with a sub and whatever surrounds. You're right, it does. But if we're just taking the soundbar out of all of the, all of the particular systems, I think the Ultra by itself is the best.
Yes.
Then now if you add in the extra components, I still think the Sonos Ultra system with the
Era 300s and the new
300s
Sub 4.
and the new, either one.
Sub 3 or 4.
We
both.
used
Yeah,
both?
we used both.
Fantastic. I think the Sonos Arc really wins for the Dolby Atmos surround sound experience because of those Era 300s, which I know we weren't like, we didn't like
We weren't super
grease all over 'em
keen on them at first. Yeah.
when they were just by themselves, because we didn't have any of the other Sonos components at the time.
Yeah.
And we liked them, but there were some limitations.
Yes.
When you just use them by themselves. So in that respect, with the entire combo in mind, it's so good. It is so good. Those Era 300s as rears, just if you're a movie watcher,
Game changer.
game changer.
Yeah.
I would say the Quad is probably in second place.
As a system.
A close second.
Yes. Best value is still the 990D. Let's just
Yeah.
call it what it is. Like, you cannot beat the Q990D on performance per dollar.
Yeah.
You can't touch it.
100%.
But at a complete system, the complete systems being Sony or Sonos, Sonos managed to do a few things differently, better, and more competently than the Sony. As great as the Sony is, the Sonos was just that little touch of refinement better. And in terms of adjustability, expandability, customization, Sonos gives you that. But you being literal, I'm actually, I'm taking back my bar only recommendation. If we're going bar only, Canvas wins. Bar only, nothing was more full range, big, satisfying, and impactful on its own, because the canvas is one and done. There's no
Right.
sub, there's no surrounds.
Right.
It is what it is. Nothing was bigger, bolder, more impactful, and transformative in terms of the soundscape size for one single speaker than that.
Okay.
And it looked better than all of them.
Oh, 100%.
Looked better than all of them.
100%. I will agree with you. Okay. I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally do. And now you're making me rethink my call out about the ARC. I still think it's great.
No, ARC is the best soundbar system I think there is on the market right now. I really do believe that. But if we're going this year on our channel,
Yeah.
just a one speaker music and movie solution, the Canvas can do things the ARC Ultra bar by itself cannot.
Okay.
It can. It can. And in that case, that's the bar I pick. The system I pick is Sonos,
Okay.
as reviewed, and for best value, it's still the Q990D.
I can get behind that.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
There we go.
Oh, great.
What?
Just crashed. Oh, we're just banging out winners here.
Wirehead, Brian says, better than Bang Olufsen Theater. We did the theater last year. That was not reviewed this year, so it is not eligible. So there.
But do you think it's we covered this in our
The theater is
I think we covered it in the follow-up
to the Canvas.
or the Sonos.
Yeah, we covered it in one of those. I think we covered it in the Sonos Unplugged.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Great. It's a great bar, Brian, but I'm sorry, the price point is ridiculous.
What are we talking about?
The Bayo Sound Theater. When we reviewed it, it was like 20 or 30% less expensive.
Yes, it was.
And then they raised a bunch of their prices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah.
Okay. We got a couple of questions while we were debating our soundbar.
Fake KLG says, calm down there, Katie. Yeah, she's a loud drinker.
Yeah. This question, considering budget, and this is very on topic with what we just discussed, one Sonos Arc Ultra versus two Sonos Era 300s versus Klipsch the 5s or the 7s. It sounds to me like you want stereo imaging and you want a more hi-fi two-channel experience, in which case the Arc Ultra should be not in the equation. Not to say that it can't, but if you want true stereo imaging and separation, now we're talking Era 300s or Klipsch the 5s or the 7s. If you can live on less connectivity options, physical connections, the Era 300s will blow the 5s or the 7s out of the water. But if you need RCA inputs, you need that hard HDMI input, you need a phono preamp built in, you need all of these attached or input-output options, you're going to have to go with something like the 5 or the 7.
I would get the 7s.
I would get the 7s over the 5s.
Yeah, and I would get the 7s over the 9s.
Yes.
We had both. We reviewed them.
Yes.
The 5s we reviewed
Years
ago.
Yeah.
They're great little speakers.
Mm-hmm.
But what Klipsch did with the 7s, it's just a way better value for your money.
I agree.
It's a great powered speaker. It does have HDMI.
Yes.
And so you could, if you want to use it to watch television,
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's easier to do that with the 7s than it is with the Era 300s,
Correct.
which was part of our complaint when we initially
Yes.
reviewed the Eras by themselves.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Yep. Another question here. Oh, your microphone audio quality is awesome. Would you mind sharing what brand you're using? You already answered that?
I answered Alex. I linked it to you for you in the description. It's Audio Technica.
Yours is an Audio Technica. Mine is the Sennheiser that I'm still getting to know. But we've used Audio Technica for the life of this channel in some facet. I just picked up this Sennheiser probably about a month ago because the Audio Technica mic that I had for 10 years finally gave up the ghost. And while I have a matching set for us, I wanted to give something else a try just to see if maybe I was missing out. I don't want to say missing out like FOMO, but like I hadn't bought new mics in a decade. So I wanted to try
I mean, we had, but we had bought the same thing.
one over and over. So I wanted to try something different. So my mic that you're listening to right now, streaming audio quality notwithstanding, is a Sennheiser.
But I think we like the Audio-Technica in general more.
In my opinion, I don't have to do as much post EQ with the Audio-Technicas. I just like the tonality of them better. I just kind of have to fuss with levels and that's it. Whereas this, I've created a curve basically to make it sound like the Audio-Technica. So there you go. Alex writes, I have a Marantz Cinema 70 for my 5.1 home theater. I then use it in preamp mode to my Macintosh 8900 for music. Am I missing out by not having one solution like the Cinema 30 for both? Nope. I don't think you need to worry. Just enjoy what you have. It sounds like you have a great setup. My wife values aesthetics over all else. She wants to use the Sony quads. Is there a decent difference in sound between the quads with the SW5 versus the $5,000 KEF home theater system? I don't know how to answer that. Apologies.
I mean, it could be.
It could
like,
be.
what? I
It
don't
could
know
not
what-
be.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of footprint and gear, the quads with an SW5 is going to be the less invasive option. And you may find that it's just as immersive as it needs to be, and then some.
I will say, though, that if you do end up going a more traditional route, the KEF is going to be a great brand because they have very minimal, the design is very minimal,
Yeah.
which is similar to the Sony quads. They should fit pretty nicely into your decor because they offer really decor.
Yeah, you said decord. You added a D.
All right. You don't need to point it out, okay? Jesus. They should fit very nicely into your decor because they offer really simple paint finishes, but then their wood veneers are also really nice.
Yes. Brett asks, IKEA versus Sonos Eras for surrounds. Oh, the IKEA speakers that are
The Eras.
the Eras. Yeah, I haven't heard those IKEA speakers.
I mean,
but
we heard something in the store once,
yeah,
and they were terrible.
there you go. Just joined live, so apologies if this already came up. I'd love to hear more about the journey you've been on with KEF's sound. KEF is just one of those brands that now that we've had so many experiences with them, that I want to say that they are always just solid, but they're also kind of predictable, and that can be a good thing. Do not get me wrong. That can be a good thing. Talk about a brand that adheres to the trickle-down philosophy. With KEF, probably more than any other brand I've encountered, you will see something at a price point that seems aspirational from them. It still won't be as high as the competition, mind you, but it'll be like that $10,000 range, and you'll go, ooh, and it'll be compelling, and you'll read about it, you'll hear about it, and all that. Within 2 or 3 years, what made that great is going to be $3,000 to $4,000 less in the line below it. And then 2 years later, everything in that line is going to be in like the entry line. And we saw this happen with Meta. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And as time goes, the more you can hold out, obviously things get better and cheaper. The problem that I have is that it's so good every time it kind of steps down that it almost negates the need for the thing just above it. At least when it came time for the new Q line that's out right now versus the R line that came out I guess maybe 18 months or 2 years ago. Like now that gap between those two, finish and build quality notwithstanding, but sound quality and measurable in-room response, at least in our testing, those two things are so close now that now it's like, okay, well, shoot. Is it time to discontinue a line in order to update it? And when that happens and it becomes that level of predictable, it's sort of like, well, what do you say? What do you say? Because I do feel like in a lot of ways, KEF can be overhyped, because what's not exciting about getting a quote $1,000 speaker that now does battle with a $3,000 or $4,000 speaker. But I don't know if that's necessarily the right message to always kind of put out there. Is like, again, it gets back to that. Are we becoming exhausted by all of the, yeah, it's the best and this and that and giant killer and all that? Because with KEF anyway, it's completely predictable. You know this is going to happen. They're not going to allow for anything different to occur. And so if you like their sound up and down their financial food chain, they're going to appeal to you because they're probably the most consistent brand up and down the ladder. And it's a KEF through and through. And if you like it, you're going to like it. And it's going to be what kind of build quality do you want? What kind of finishes do you want? What level of sheen, polish?
Have you addressed yet your comment you made recently that you were a little bored with their
That's
sound?
kind of what I'm doing.
And I want to speak on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that makes our experience unique is that we get so many different products
Mm-hmm.
in for review. So we're constantly listening to something new, something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I love KEF products. I think they make exceptional speakers, and their subwoofer is also really good.
Mm-hmm.
I know Andrew mentioned in a recent review that he was a little bored with their sound, and I agreed with him. But I really think that speaks to more about just because we are exposed to so many things.
Yeah.
That sometimes our own personal tastes just change, because maybe we've been hearing nothing but neutral speakers for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then something comes in like an SVS Titan, and it just, or like even the Golds that we just reviewed,
Mm-hmm.
and it just energizes us. It makes things a little bit more exciting. But I really believe that if you aren't in our position and you're not getting sent a new speaker like every couple of weeks, you're not going to be in that same predicament.
Yeah.
Just trust your own judgment. Trust your own ears.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
But yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's like KEF is becoming kind of like a Samsung Q990D in that you've earned a blanket recommendation. Like, it may not be to everyone's liking, but that isn't to say that you can take anything away from the fact that it's just exceptional. You can disagree with me, but if someone's like, hey, I'm looking for kind of does everything really well at an above to excellent level, and I'm not into flavor of the month, KEF.
Mike V asked, weren't the R11 Metas your reference speaker for some time? And yes, they
They
were.
were.
For a couple of years, those were our reference speakers. I still consider them, and I'm pretty sure Andrew will agree,
Mm-hmm.
still consider them a reference speaker. We don't have them anymore. We sent them back to KEF.
Mm-hmm.
They were gracious enough to let them stay with us to continue to
Use them.
compare and use
Yep.
as a reference point.
Yeah, but they were always on loan.
But they were always on loan. But yeah, they're still great speakers. Klipsch makes a great speaker. There's rarely been a Klipsch speaker minus maybe
The reference line, the budget reference line.
Yeah, the R line.
We don't.
Not the RP, but the R line.
Yeah.
We liked their bookshelf 50, 51s or whatever they're called, but the 800 towers did not jive with those. but really, Klipsch is so, I guess it's controversial or whatever, especially if you happen to like them. They are one of the most poo-pooed on brands that I've ever seen, but they do make great products. But if you don't like their sound, then you don't like their sound.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the sidebar about Klipsch, the thing that I find funny about Klipsch is that if you, again, like with any speaker or any speaker that is unabashedly brought to market by a brand that is known and even sort of themselves celebrate their own heritage, their own voicing, their own experience. B&W is another great example. Like, they are doing something their way. You know, Focal, say what you want. A lot of brands do things their way. Klipsch is one of them. Klipsch has had that reputation since jump. Like, we are who we are. And there are people that you like that sort of thing. What I find, and I'm one of them. And it has nothing to do with fanboyism. It's just there are certain elements of Klipsch sound, especially when you play back the type of music I like to listen to, that just hits different. It just hits different, and I like it. But what's funny to me is like the amount of people that know that Klipsch isn't for them, yet they continue to like buy that product, and I'm like, you're a sadist at this point. You're buying it because you actually enjoy bitching about it more than you were ever gonna like listening to it.
Oh, I don't even think they're buying it.
But I mean, it's just like you're
What are you
just
talking about? I don't even think they're buying it.
you just like to
they're just
bitch about
they're
it,
just,
you know? And it's like
they're probably perpetually online,
yeah,
and you know they just gotta be thieves of other people's joy.
yeah.
You know,
It's like
they're just looking for a connection. We get it.
just move on. It's not for you. Like watching that Nick Lewis interior design commentator.
Oh, someone brought him up earlier.
Oh yeah, Nick
They're
Lewis.
a fan.
Oh yeah, he started one of his recent videos with a line that I was like, you could apply that to our hobby, like that. He's like, there's always someone in my comments that, you know, we're talking about a great lasagna recipe, and they're like, oh, but I'm a vegan. Well, you shouldn't have clicked on this video.
Yeah, relating that to some topic that Nick covered in his interior.
Yeah, he's
design
like, then I don't
channel.
know why you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it's so funny. We were dealing with a Klipsch hater this week. He just pitched a tent in our comments. He's going back and hitting videos that are like 4 years old, just reminding us, like, everyone knows that they have this. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't
no, you're talking about
care.
the Danny Ritchie.
Yeah, like
No, that guy was just obsessed. He's no longer.
He's no longer
We're not going to have to see his comments anymore.
part of the community.
Thank goodness. But this guy was literally like living on our channel, going to various videos, Klipsch videos and others, and just like obsessed with us visiting Danny Ritchie. And it's like, let it go. It's weird. It's so weird.
It's weird.
It's so weird. We're not going. It's, you know, it's not a big deal. Like, that's our choice.
Yeah. And I don't know how many times we have to tell the general viewing public, like, I've spoken to the man. I've spoken to you. I've spoken to the man. I've spoken to all the parties involved. And I have said exactly why this is not going to happen this way, because he is a manufacturer. He is a company. We do not do those sorts of things with any other company. We're not making an exception for him. He is a company that is also attempting to look like an influencer, a reviewer, a channel, whatever. His channel is marketing for his company and the products he sells. That is fine. But he gets treated no different than Sony, than Samsung, than anyone. It's that simple.
Yeah,
It's that simple.
If you like his DIY projects or his fix-it kits, that's great.
Great.
Continue to watch and devour all the content that he puts out. That's great. But what this particular person was doing was basically calling us, or calling Andrew more specifically, a phony, or, you know, like we're afraid to go out there. Are you kidding me? No.
No, it's not
No.
fear. It's the fact that I can't be put in a situation where I am attempting to evaluate a product while being influenced by the very person that makes said product.
Now, and I know that for those of you who are not up on the drama, I know what Danny's main thing is likely, from what I recall, to be what he will probably say. Maybe he'll even put out another video with Andrew's face on it. Who knows? But he does question our room, and he questions Andrew's ability as a reviewer, like his skills, his knowledge base, and the whole idea is like you have to go to him so he can educate you. And if that's what it was really about, maybe we would consider it, but it's not. It's not. It's going to be more drama and more content for him, and we're not here to support that. Like Andrew's already said, if you want to send your products out to be reviewed and considered on the channel, we will give it a fair shot, just like everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, look.
And if you choose not to, also fine.
And just so that everyone is aware, because this will now make a full trip around the news cycle, since we've opened up this can of worms, I want to be perfectly clear. My response to anybody in a brand space, distributor space, is the same. And the conversation and the interaction that I had with GR Research about reviewing their products is no different than the conversation I had with the distributor, the North American distributor of, say, Advanced Paris. I said, you are free to send your products, put your best foot forward, and know that I will treat them fairly. I will compare them to your peers, and I will give my honest impressions and do my best to back it up with as much data and facts as I can. And that's that. And then give me a label so it can be returned. Now, 90% of the people we talk to, if we reach out and we communicate at that level, 90% of the people we talk to, yes, the product shows up. Then sometimes it doesn't. And then other times you end up in situations that have been completely blown out of proportion and turned into something that it's not, where it's like, no, you've got to come to me, I've got to teach you, or my product can't be compared to other things. Bullshit. Bullshit. So that is what happened. And for people that are like, ooh, when are you going to do Advanced Paris? I offered Advanced Paris, put your best foot forward. The only thing I said is I'm going to compare it to your peers, and I'm not going to say that it is a Macintosh killer if it is in fact not. And I will actually compare it side by side with a Macintosh amplifier. Guess what? Suddenly, that distributor wanted to talk to me about other products he represented, not Advanced Paris. Will you see an Advanced Paris review on this channel? Probably not. Probably not. So
The thing that I just don't get with the GR situation is he's made it abundantly clear that he doesn't believe you know what you're doing. So why even give us a second thought?
mm-hmm.
You know, think about that. What would us coming to him do for anybody if he doesn't think, if he spent any time on our channel and seen our reviews, even where there are times where maybe we've come to the same conclusion, what if he truly believes it, and he's said it enough times, so I don't want to even hear that coming from out of his mouth that that's not what he said or not what he thinks. Bullshit. What good is it going to do? To me, it just seems like if I do this, it's going to give me content, and I know that my people that watch my channel, and frankly, a lot of audiophiles, love drama.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I had to draw a line this year. And thankfully, the interested parties or the people, you know, what is the byproduct of the drama? On the one hand, and this is across YouTube. This is a problem with YouTube. this isn't just me or us. It's that one of the byproducts of drama is, yes, it's a very easy and call it arguably effective way to pump up your numbers, maybe even gain some subscribers. Hell, there are channels that have become monetized in borderline overnight by just trolling or criticizing or, frankly, just stealing content from us or other creators in our space. But what isn't always taken into account is there are some bad actors online, and there are some bad actors in this hobby, and there are some bad actors that are fans of HiFi and home theater. And it doesn't take much for them to get riled up. And while 90% of the creators are doing react videos or are doing call outs or, you know, those types of things, and they're trading on the likenesses or content of others, they're still trying their best to be respectful. But so there are people that get fired up by those videos, and as a result, they take it too far. And when they take it too far, it gets to be problematic. And in some cases, it's happened to us. I know it's happened to Randy. It has gotten dangerous. Like on a security level, it's become dangerous. And that is where I'm at that point now where I know we all had a laugh about 30 minutes ago where, you know, Kristi, it's the end of the year, I'm out of Fs. I'm out of Fs because I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. And not because like, oh, I'm looking over my proverbial shoulder. No. There are some scary mother effers out there, and these videos that people make without thinking, only to create a pile-on effect, are dangerous on some levels. And I don't like being put in that situation because we don't put people in that situation. And I don't think that you need to put people in that situation. It's audio, you know, it's hi-fi, you know, it's toys for big boys, you know what I mean? So yeah, this year especially, I've seen an uptick in like the anger click, the anger view. And it's like, and there's some creators out there that are saying things that I'm like, oh, you know, like, wow, that's not only beyond opinion, that's almost an accusation. You know, people calling each other just, horrendous stuff. You know, the GR research stuff, I get it. I mean, it's completely blown out of proportion, and everything I said was taken out of context. But I had a 2.5-hour conversation with GR Research and its founder, Danny, and I ended that call just fine. Like, oh, okay, and I see your point of view, da-da-da-da-da. Do I think anything's going to come of it? Do I think his products are going to show up in the mail? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But the offer was made. And I felt an understanding was reached. But I don't think that'll be the end of it. And that,
No, well, it's the offer. The offer was given, and of course, the offer was made public in the video that person put out. I really feel like if it was a very genuine offer or request or something that Danny truly cared about, he never would have made a video of it. Mm-hmm. He would have just called Andrew because he definitely knows how to get in touch with him. And since the conversation, you know, the comments left by Danny to other people just don't tell me anything different than he doesn't respect or believe Andrew knows what he's doing. And again, I'll bring it back to then why continue to give it airtime? You know, like why not just let it go and do your thing, we'll do our thing, and that's that. And I hope that this is the last time maybe that we can put, we have to bring it up and we can just put it down.
I mean, yeah, I've been trying to just move on. When I hang up a call and I'm like, okay, well, see what happens. Like, that's the end of it for me. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting. But I think that the concept of trading on people's likenesses, I hope that goes away. I hope that goes away. And I think there's going to be a crackdown on that on a lot of levels, not just in our hobby, but platform-wise, because there's clear cause and correlation between someone's regular content versus when they do like a react, or they're basically trading on someone else's likeness who is of a certain size. And I think if the platform chooses to cut down on that or that practice, and creators do have options there, by the way, it technically isn't always legal to use someone's likeness in a thumbnail, especially in a video thumbnail of a video that is monetized, because you are effectively violating someone's right to privacy for monetary gain. And there's been a couple of people that have won those types of challenges on this platform. And I think that's causing the platform to look at React content a little bit differently, hopefully differently. Because I think if you don't see it on the thumbnail, you're not triggered going in. It's one thing to find out that a video involves commentary about other videos or reacts to. It's another thing to trigger somebody in a thumbnail into a mindset going in that before they even hear your argument, they're already at an 11. And I think it's because people enter into things already at an 11 that they don't hear the discussion. They don't hear the words. They don't hear what's being said or how it's being said. And as a result, that's where it ventures into problematic territory. I get it. You're probably not going to get as many clicks if you don't wear a clown nose, put neon lights on everything and do the crazy Eddie routine. But I think we're at an inflection point as a hobby where I think, and this is just me, I think the new frontier is going to be a little bit more subtle. I do. I want to believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I want to believe that. I want to believe that.
I would love to see that happen. I just don't think it's going to anytime soon. Not until the people who watch that type of content stop watching. Because John Sackett raised a good point about it being lazy. You react videos being lazy. And I agree. Mm-hmm. I think the whole concept of putting someone else's face on a thumbnail that, isn't you, automatically is what you're doing that because you know that person's face is going to get your viewer to click.
Yeah. What's funny about thumbnails too is if you've been with us for this close to 5-year journey now, you know that for like the first 2-3 years, I think 3 years, that my face never appeared on our thumbnails. Our thumbnails had a look, it was very distinct, it was ours, but I never appeared on the thumbnail. The only reason I'm on our thumbnails now was because people were literally ripping off our thumbnail and title to the point where I was getting messages from people screenshotting our thumbnails attached to other videos saying, hey, do you know this is happening? Is this you? Da, 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 da. And so I started putting myself on the thumbnail as a way of like, hey, there's no denying if you go to another person's channel, whatever Tech USA, blah, 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 and it's got my face on it, you know they stole it. You know they're taking from us. And that's why I did it. I don't like it. I hate my face on the thumbnails. And I'm somewhat proud that I don't do too much outrageous stuff like on the thumbnails itself. Like I try and reflect what our videos and our channel's always been about. But that's why I'm on it. It's just a sort of unapologetic kind of trademark, if you will. Like, this is ours. Let there be no doubt. But that has obviously given people plenty of opportunities to grab my face now as a result. So it's turned out to be a double-edged sword. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride. So I see I have a couple of questions, so this will be a great segue. And then we'll get back to the fun stuff. Peter writes in, hey, need your help again. Got the Q Acoustic Concept 50s for his Audiolab 8300 and love them. But my wife finds them too big. Will I miss anything swapping them out for the Q Acoustic Concept 300s?
Oh, you're not going to save any space.
You're not going to. The C300s are visually, they're going to float because that wire stand lets visually a little bit more air look like it's going through, but the footprint of the C300s on their tripod stand is actually bigger than Concept 50s by quite a bit. That's a big bookshelf. That C300, that's a big bookshelf.
It's big. And
Yeah.
if you...
It's deep too.
It's very deep. If you get the stands that I think you're talking about,
Yeah.
they're really cool, but they are...
At their base, I think it's almost a 18, 22-inch wide span.
It will take up actually a larger footprint
Yeah.
in your space than the Concept 50s.
Yeah.
Concept 50s are absolutely fantastic speakers. I
Yeah.
know they don't have everything for everybody, but I love them.
Yeah. Saw your stream about the Mac Bose deal and trouble HiFi is in. I thought of Meridian, ahead of their time with powered speakers. I'm looking for powered speakers that can handle rock, grunge, etc. at 80 to 90 dB, yet is refined. I mean, Meridian makes a speaker that can do that, for sure. Meridian is a great brand. I would steer you towards, on the budget side or more obtainable, affordable side, KEF LS60s.
Oh, yeah, those are fantastic.
Fabulous, absolutely
You
fabulous.
can pretty much tune those however you want. There's
Yeah.
a lot of versatility
Yeah.
with the DSP,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Bang Olufsen.
Bang & Olufsen across the board.
Yeah,
Great options.
Would be a great option. They are more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The Klipsch 7s that we
Super more budget
mentioned
side, yeah.
earlier in the stream, great for rock, I think.
I would say that poor recorded music, because of that horn, may grip a little too much, may reach out and grab a little too much if you're sensitive to that. Excuse me. If you're sensitive to that sort of a thing, because they don't have the same level of adjustability and tunability as like the KEFs, the Bang & Olufsens, or the Meridians, but those are all great options. Brian, what would the previous Andrew in previous audio life do anything different for room treatment compared to now?
Room treatment.
Not spend so much money on it like I did in the past. Because I tried all the products, like all of them. So I definitely tried a lot of snake oil room treatment products in the early days and spent a lot of money, put it on credit cards that took me a long time to pay down and pay off. And so don't ever, 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 ever go into debt for anything HiFi or home theater related. I mean it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's never worth it. Aside from that, look, I didn't learn about things like fabric walls until way later in life. It wasn't until I had already, turn my lifestyle into panels and tube traps and all that stuff.
Mattress, box springs.
Yeah.
Hanging on your wall.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Whereas fabric walls would have saved me so much time, money, and energy. Yeah, at first, the buy-in may have seemed higher, but once I discovered fabric walls and those types of systems, I really stopped caring about like, oh, well, this trap's designed for this is that, because you really just sort of get a really nice sounding even room that has low RT60 times, in which case then it's all about just placing your seating distance in relation to the speakers and the screen right. I mean, that's more than half of it. You can be in you can't be in a concrete box, like cinder block walls, concrete floors, cinder block ceiling, and get away with just good placement. But your typical everyday living room with a sofa and some chairs and a rug and some curtains and bookcases and your life in it, more than half of the secret to good sound is just placement. Getting your speakers to seating distance, to everything, that relationship right within the confines of your room. And then from there, you'll find that maybe you don't need anything. And if you do need something, it's very little. It's very little. More often than not, people overbuy with room treatments. They do. They really, really do. So that is what I would do differently. I would start and stop my search with fabric wall systems and lining the inside of those fabric wall systems in certain areas with like Owens Corning or something, leaving the other parts just drywall, because now I've got an air gap. So I have a little bit of reflectivity that's tamped down a little bit. And in other areas, I've got absorption. That's what I would do. Philbert heard a Luxman 505Z recently and fell in love with it. Do you have any thoughts on Luxman? I have no thoughts on Luxman, unfortunately. I would welcome the opportunity to review them. I would welcome the opportunity to share that experience with you guys. But that's just not a brand that we have been able to make inroads with for one reason or another, and it's not even worth.
They would send us something to review, but they were pretty, at least at the time.
Maybe things have changed.
We haven't chased them down in a while, but their rep made it clear to us that they expected to control certain aspects of the review and like where we would link to in particular, and we just said that's not how we work. And
yeah.
unfortunately we couldn't come to an agreement that was agreeable to both parties, and so we haven't been able to review them.
And by agreement, they didn't want to necessarily be treated like we treat every other brand, and we weren't willing to make their concessions in order to treat them differently than we did every other brand. It's not like, oh, we couldn't agree on it's nothing nefarious like that. It's like, you're free to send your product, we will evaluate it, we will send it back to you. Those are the terms. Yeah. Those weren't acceptable, so we don't have it. If things change.
If things have changed and they feel differently, or if anybody from Luxman's watching and you weren't aware of this, then by all means, please reach out, and because we'd love to have your products on the channel. I think they're stunning.
Oh yeah,
and I've always wanted to.
I hear nothing but good things about them.
To hear them, yeah, everyone likes them. So
yeah. Does Sony 7000 ES still hold up? I recently got Sony over Marantz Cinema 30, and I'm wondering if I'm missing out on better sound versus wider sound. It still holds up. I love it. It still holds up. I really do. To me, it's just, if I'm in a Dirac mood, meaning I want to sit there and I want to kind of play with the software and the curves and really kind of make it my own, yeah, I reach for my Onkyo. But if I'm just sort of like, I want to set it and forget it and let the smarter people, if you will, give me their best effort, the Sony 7000 is fantastic. Those are our receivers. 7000 ES, or Onkyo RZ30. And the reason I like them is completely different. Like RZ30 lets me be a bit of a mad scientist, and the 7000 is a plug, play, set, and forget. They're both great. They're both great. Oh my gosh, all these questions just popped in.
Where were we at on our favorite products?
We had done speakers, we had done amplifier, we had done sound bars.
Uh-huh.
So we were going to move into televisions.
Oh, TVs.
TVs. So let me answer a couple more questions. We'll take a pause and we'll get to TVs. Looking around $5,000 Formation Duo. I mean, Formation Duos are great. I don't even think you'd spend $5,000 on them anymore. I think they're probably half that because they're long in the tooth. So could be a great value proposition to pick them up now, but that also could signify that an update, a new pair, a new something is right around the bend. I don't know. I'm not saying that as a wink, as a sort of hint. I'm just reading the tea leaves based on how this stuff typically works. If you've got $5,000 and you're looking for powered speakers, don't sleep on that LS60 from Kef. Those are under $5,000 now. They're phenomenal and arguably more feature packed and better in terms of connectivity and adjustability and app strength compared to the Formation Duos. Understand the Formation Duos are great, but that is a 5-year-old design and a lot can happen and change in 5 and 6 years, especially when it comes to powered speakers. So the LS60 would be the more modern, quote, modern choice. Please compare Bang & Olufsen BeoLink surround with other alternatives. Okay, I will do my best. There's nothing I can say to that right now, but I will do my best.
BeoLink surround?
BeoLink.
Oh, they're end ceilings or something? What is it? I don't even know what the BeoLink surround is.
Oh, I thought we're talking about BeoLink compared to what they're doing with like the theater and Harmony and their new Core and those types of boxes. Or am I misunderstanding?
I don't know. I'm sorry, Can. We'll definitely Google this later.
Yes.
Our review.
Our
review isn't coming out like anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
When we do Bang & Olufsen, we try and dive deep and answer the questions because we know not everyone has a dealer in their area, so maybe our video is going to be their only exposure to it. So we try and always give you as much information as we can. Will we see any other DVLA product reviews, or is it very unlikely after the very fair review of the Dion? They know how to reach us. We thought the people at DVLA were absolutely fantastic people, very professional. We loved working with them, but no, we haven't heard anything since our Dion review. So ball's in their court.
do they have new products out?
I don't know if they have new products out, but they do have products we haven't reviewed.
If they have something new out, at me here in the chat box, and then in 2025, maybe I'll reach out and say, hey, what's up?
Chris Veltman writes, do you think you've enjoyed the first 24 hours with the 90s more than you enjoyed the first 24 hours with the JBL L100s or La Scalas?
I already know. I know the answer, but I don't know if I should say.
I think I know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
You're going to say La Scalas.
Yep.
First 24 hours with the La Scalas were better for you, not because the speaker was necessarily better, but our schedule and how that speaker unfolded in its installation, we were up and running a hell of a lot faster, which gave us more time to enjoy them that day. And we got more into the listening aspect of them faster, which means you just simply played with them more. And as a result, you listened to more things that triggered you.
Yeah.
Out of the gate.
I would agree. I think also I feel like I've experienced so much since then. The La Scalas were so special, and you and I had like just a very personal moment
Yeah.
moments together.
It's unbeatable.
And it's very
because of
hard
that.
to replicate or beat that experience.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying you're going to have, but back to what I was saying, I have just experienced so much since we had the La Scalas in for review. I think my breadth of knowledge is so much greater
Yeah.
than it was, and so it's just a little bit harder to impress me
Yeah.
now. So maybe that answers your question, Chris.
Yeah, I will say that for me, this process, this project, this loudspeaker behind me has been so long in the making, and not just for this channel. I mean, keep in mind, this is the 10th anniversary of this particular product, and it's signifying the 75th anniversary of the brand. I remember where I was when they announced this speaker, and for the past decade, like, I've been following its progress and everything, and I think over the course of 10 years, I've been in its presence about 6 times for any demo that would matter. And so I will fully admit, like, once the 4-hour installation was over and everyone cleared out of the house and they were kind of ours, I still didn't believe it was real. And so while I listened to a bunch of stuff, like, I was still kind of just caught up in, like, these are here. And that's going to maybe take a day or two to kind of wear off for me and put me into the place where I'm, like, really shuffling through, like, lifelong favorites. You would think that I would have done that first thing, but I just still couldn't believe this happened and this was real. And so that opportunity hasn't come yet. I played like 2 or 3 songs.
I did quite a.
She jumped right in and
yeah.
actually told me and the people at Watt Integration to, like, shut up, I'm listening now. And that was great, and that was fine.
Andrew kept wanting me to turn down the volume so they could have a conversation.
Well, because I was learning some things about these speakers that I didn't know that were going to make the review better for all of you guys. And it's hard to do that when she's listening to Sabotage at 90 dB.
Yes.
In the same room.
The first thing technically that I played was a song by the Tedeschi Trucks band.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I needed to play something audiophile or whatever, or something that would really showcase the speakers.
Yeah.
And as soon the song sounded great, by the way. But then I think one of the next 1 or 2 songs, I went right to my Beastie Boys and played Sabotage and turned it all the way up because that's how I like to listen to Beastie Boys. And then I played Fiona Apple.
Criminal from
Criminal,
title, from the album title.
I can't remember what else I listened to, but I know we're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh, we're
going through our playlist.
Like, the one thing that I've said in every Bang & Olufsen review that I believe we've done, and at least in the last 2 years, is there's one thing that their speakers get me to do more than any speaker ever. And I do mean this, ever. And that is when I know everyone in my house is finally awake and up and at 'em and, getting ready for the day, they get turned on and something gets put on shuffle. It just happens. It is an extension of me at that point. And I carry out coffee. I carry out morning routines and emails. They're always on. That doesn't happen with any other brand. Not to say that any other brand is bad or worse or blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, for whatever reason, when Bang & Olufsen is in this house, or we have a lull in our schedule that enable me to pull our personal collection out and live with it, they never stop playing. So whether or not that makes them the best or not is irrelevant to me, because I will never log more hours listening to any loudspeaker than I will a B&O. I don't know what it is. It's just the way it works out for me and my schedule. So yeah. Okay. Oh, Chris Veltman. Oh, geez. Chris, dude. Thank you, man. Really appreciate
Aw,
that.
that's so nice.
I want to hear Downward Spiral through the 90s. I hope they're a ton of fun.
Oh, I'll have to pull that up. I love Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Love them. So I'll play them for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, we'll chat. We'll chat. Let's see. Okay, I think I caught back up. Oh, nope. One more.
Oh, Paul's Boutique is such a good record.
Do you have thoughts on the Sonos port? Got the Arc Ultra for the bedroom, and now I'm craving adding Sonos to my living room setup. Sonos port. We have the Sonos amp. What is the Sonos port?
I
Oh,
saw Nine Inch Nails. We're having a Nine Inch Nails convo.
you go ahead. I'm double checking.
I saw Nine Inch Nails at the Bomb Factory in Dallas, which is was a very small club. I have no idea if it's still around. But Marilyn Manson opened up for them, and this was before Marilyn Manson was anything, and the crowd was so insane. I almost got trampled to death, but thankfully I was okay. But it was an insane show. People were crazy in the mosh pit, coming back. Eventually, I had to go into the back of the room because I was literally almost was trampled, and people were coming back with bloody faces and stuff, trampled by goths. The 90s were amazing.
Yes. Best
so-
decade ever. Back to the Sonos port. I don't have any firsthand experience with the port, but I have to assume it's very similar to the Sonos amp, which we do have. And if it's kind of a Sonos amp without the amp part in it, I have no hesitation in recommending it. I think their products, especially after fixing the app and whatnot, don't at me if you still disagree. I happen to think, based on my personal experience not a month ago, the Sonos ecosystem is really impressive, and it's working for me anyway. It worked for me, it worked for our Sonos speakers, and I have nothing really that negative to say about it. So go for it, but know that I don't have personal firsthand experience with the port. Yeah, so that was that. Let's talk about TVs. Best TV of the year.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were looking at me.
Real quick, let me jump in here. Jose, I want to get some Kev speakers. What are your thoughts on their compact sub? Tune in Sunday. We are going to be answering, for the first time and maybe only time, all of your 2024 pressing subwoofer comparisons. So tune in Sunday. Yes, TV of the year. I am now talking to you.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of writing to John Sackett. I'm just going to tell you because I think, I'm just going to say it out loud, John, because I think my YouTube's about to crash on me. Check out the Get It Together track on Ill Communication by the Beastie Boys. It's one of my favorites and a go-to, what do you call it? Demo track.
Okay. All right.
Now we can talk about TVs.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to discuss what our TV of the year is, because your options are, because there's been a few.
Sin Color, you keep bringing up bias lighting, and it's
I'll talk about bias
kind of
lighting.
like Mean Girls and the word, what was it?
Fetch.
Fetch.
Stop making fetch
It's
happen.
not going to happen.
All right. So we have Sony's A95L OLED. Hold on. These are
Yeah.
your options. The X90L 98-inch, currently on our wall, still to this day.
Still amazing.
Samsung anything.
Nope.
TCL QM8 series, 98 inch.
Yeah.
LG B4 OLED, or the Sony Bravia 9.
Okay. I have two. I have two favorites.
You have two favorites.
I have two favorites.
Okay.
Obviously, the Bravia 9 that we just reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
So fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
To me, looks like an OLED, as close as an OLED has ever looked. That's not an OLED.
Mm-hmm.
Their only mistake, they did not make it big enough.
Yes.
I need a 99,
98.
98, whatever. I need a 100-inch television
Mm-hmm.
in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I am just that person now.
Okay.
I am the same as a projection enthusiast who's like, you go projection and it's the best thing ever. It's the most realistic image. And oh my God, I have 150 inches. I get it.
Bigger,
Okay?
better.
Bigger is better. The other one is the TCL QM8.
Yep.
We sent that back. I wish we had not, because it was awesome.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
Yeah, I'm bougie. I'm seriously bougie. But I also have low tastes as well. Like I can go high, I can go low.
She doesn't have a middle.
I don't have a middle.
She
That
doesn't
is
have a
the
middle.
problem.
You're
That
either
is-
going to get out the door for $1 or $1 million.
Typically, if I like something and I think it's going to be affordable, it's the most expensive thing in the store,
Yeah.
without fail.
If she is dead set, she's telling you about something, she's like, no, I know it's not going to be too bad. It's going to be cheap. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. And the thing that she thinks might be expensive, you'll be shocked is cheap. But yeah, anyway. So your tie at Sony Bravia 9 in the QM8 series by TCL.
Yeah, we had the 98-inch in here, and it was so good. It's great, especially if you have a bright room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fantastic.
Yeah. I'm not.
But I will say, sorry,
Yeah,
didn't
go
mean to
ahead. No,
interrupt
you're
you.
fine.
But the Sony X90L, we put it back on the wall as soon as we sent the Bravia 9 back to Sony, and we were watching it last night. I don't know if anybody's been watching The Jackal. What's that guy's name? The redhead?
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne is in it, and the colors of the black woman, her skin tone was so perfect.
Yeah, that whole show looks amazing.
It does look amazing.
But but one caveat, it looks amazing, but you need a TV that can do HDR justice, because it's a dark show.
Yes, it is a dark show.
I would not be watching that on no B4 OLED from LG.
But I want to say darker skin tones, African American skin tones. She's British, I believe.
Yeah.
But I just find that not every TV gets
That skin
tone right. You know, I don't know. It just doesn't always. There's just something.
There's a lot more nuance to it.
Some TVs sort of wash out that skin tone. Whereas,
Or they go green.
it goes green. Like
It goes-
LG, I
it
find
goes
goes green.
green.
Although we haven't had one of their really, really top TVs in a while. Maybe they fixed that. I don't know. But Sony is excellent
Yeah,
in
they
their
really
color
do.
rendering.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, she looked so beautiful. Anyway, I don't know where else I was going with that, but
Best TV of the year for me is the Bravia 9.
okay.
Yeah, I wish it was bigger, but even though, and I would welcome it in a 98 or a 115, there's no denying, like that is legitimately pound for pound, all things considered, including light output and the control of said light output. It's the best TV I've ever seen, and it's the best TV I've ever measured.
It's
don't get me wrong,
really special.
the A series OLEDs from Sony are fantastic. We have one in our bedroom, like I said in the review. But the Bravia 9 can do all 99% of what the Sony OLED can do, 99% of it, but the Sony OLED can't do 90% of what the Bravia 9 can do. So the Bravia 9 it's the best TV on the market right now, as far as I'm concerned. So, no, Samsung is not good with quality control at all.
No, they're not.
That would bring up a fun category. We have always done it and cut it for time.
What is it?
So we have only 3 categories left. Now, we have always done biggest surprise of the year, which in our recordings of our previous wrap-ups always ends up being like, what was the biggest surprise or disappointment? Someone here?
I don't know. I thought I saw somebody, but maybe I've
Okay.
seen things.
What ended up being the biggest surprise or disappointment? And we always end up cutting it for time because these episodes, they always go long. And so let's do it live. Biggest surprise of the year. Positive or negative? Biggest surprise of the year.
Honestly, it was really just how bad the Dragon system was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse that's already been resurrected multiple times, even in this stream. But I was shocked because, like a lot of you, all we had heard was about how great it was, And when we got it, it was just like, I just don't get it. Like it's not impressive. I would go out on a limb to say I don't think it's good. So yeah, that was probably the biggest surprise for me.
If I'm going, to me it's a tie.
Okay.
To me it's a tie. And the reason it was a tie is because I had equal levels of frustration both times, but I had the most optimism going into both, and that was the Dragon and everything we did about Samsung TVs this year. The Samsung TV thing gutted me because if you watched this channel in their last year's performance, whether it was an 8K or their OLED, their last year's models were bordering on, like flawless reference. We got there. They may not have been great like out of the box in every instance, but we got there and they were very, very good. We got sent 3 different Samsung TVs this year, and some of which were sent to us after making Samsung aware of the issues. So we were sent completely different SKUs, and I'm telling you, it would appear across their LED line anyway, their QLED line, not their OLED. We didn't get an OLED. They have something's wrong. Something is wrong. And the fact that it's able to be replicated by other reviewers now, not just us, was somewhat validating, but also only added to my frustration because I was so happy with them 18 months ago. And the performance they were putting up, I was like, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to beat Sony. They're going to do it. And then this year, I'm like, what happened? So I'm hopeful for next year. I'm hopeful. I don't count Samsung out ever. But this was not their year. And as for the Dragon, that was so frustrating. I wish I had never done that review. I wish I had never done the review. I wish I would have just been content with telling you guys like, hey, I just don't have time. Because from buying it to unboxing it to reviewing it to then having to troubleshoot it, go to other people that have had it, compare notes, and just be like, hey, I need you to give it to me straight. Like, what the hell? And then ultimately to know that we were going to go out on the world's longest limb by ourselves and just have to show you what was up. That was hard enough. And then obviously the absolute behind the scenes avalanche of shit that became my life, from Nakamichi corporate all the way down to the lowest, rando person on Facebook. I did not.
Shatvalanche.
A shatvalanche. I did not have 1 hour in the waking hours of a day for over a month since that review, the month after that review came out, where I was not having to deal with some type of comment, email, text message, phone call, YouTube video as a result of that review. And what was crazy about it was, is like every time someone felt the need to like defend the dragon, they just proved our data. And it was like, why are we drinking the Kool-Aid? Why? Like, why did this product rise to cult status this year? I don't get it. Like, how in the face of, and you know me, I'm not the measurement.
I know exactly how it got.
I'm not the measurement guy. I'm not that data guy. I'm not that guy. But sometimes
they control the narrative.
Yeah.
And anytime you can control the narrative, all you need is one or two people to say something's great and then make it seem. So when you do that, and then you also combine it with creating some sort of exclusivity, or that the product is hard to get, boom, you're in business.
Yeah.
That's all. I will give Nakamichi one thing. They were complete geniuses.
Marketing masterclass.
Holy crap. They wouldn't send the thing out to anybody, but like 2 people, I think, got that stupid thing.
Yeah.
And that's all it took. And my gosh, if you tell an audiophile for $3,000 or whatever it was at the time, you can have everything you've ever wanted in a home theater system without all the cables and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people want.
Except you can't.
Except you
can't, because if you say that same claim and call it Sonos, they won't buy it.
Yeah.
And that's the craziest thing.
Well, they have the Nakamichi name to,
Yeah.
I think, also to trade on. So it was just the perfect shatvalanche, as
Yeah.
our viewer just called it. And
That review was my entire Q3. It was 3 months that I will never get back. And yeah. No, Samsung took up a lot of my time this year because we were sending them like, what is this? What is this? And this, and then when we wait for something to come in, and then, yeah, the shatvalanche that was the dragon. It still doesn't even do what they say it does.
oh, the best thing was, after all the controversy of supposedly behind our review,
Yeah.
and what we said about the subs, where they couldn't hit what they claimed to
Mm-hmm.
hit, and all the reaction videos that came out after, saying we have an axe to grind. What did they do? These idiots went out and I'm talking about Nakamichi.
Yeah.
They went out and released a new sub.
Yeah.
That supposedly could finally hit what they claimed the first subs they sold people could hit, but then even the new subs
ones don't even
couldn't do the same, couldn't do it either.
Yeah.
What a shit show.
Yeah. It's
And I
anywho.
just feel bad for the people that bought into it.
That's the
because
part-
I know that a lot of people, this is all they have to spend.
Yeah, and the number of very kind and private DMs and emails that we got from people that were like, hey, I too felt taken advantage of, or, I was considering this. This has been in the shopping cart. I appreciate this. Or people that were like, yeah, I was wondering if I was crazy. I've been asking people online for advice. And basically, because I'm not happy with this, I'm being attacked. And it's like, yeah, everything about that experience I can understand from both sides. And I just feel really bad. I think people were taken advantage of. Definitely. Okay. Now, one of our favorite categories that we've never cut for time. Design of the year.
Oh, design of the year.
Yeah, what design of the year? What encapsulated style and substance? Design of the year.
Eesh. Oh my goodness. I'm really trying to think.
Would you like me to give you what I believe? If I had a crystal ball, I would say your options are likely to be. Do you want me to narrow it down for you? All right. Design of the year.
Yeah.
Not necessarily best performing, but just overall looks, brains, and beauty. Marantz Model M1.
That came to my mind
Okay.
first.
Marantz Model M1, I believe, would be on your list. I also believe something like the Quad Theater would be on a potential list. There's the 800 Signatures by Bowers and Wilkins as a design element. There is the Canvas from a design standpoint.
Yep.
I would also say that there's a chance that you would consider maybe the Sonos products. And then there is the Bang & Olufsen Biolab 8.
I think the Biolab 8s are gorgeous speakers, especially because you can customize them. They really lost me on that stand.
Oh, Chris Veltman, you are correct, Chris. The Sonos Faber wireless bookshelf speakers that we had at the very beginning of the year. No one watched that video. But you are dead right, Chris. They are the Sonos Faber Duettos.
Oh, yeah. Oh, those were pretty. It's still they're beautiful, but
Yes.
it's still a design I've seen before. Like it's a wood finish. It's great, love it. Whatever. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really have anything. The first thing that came to mind when you brought this up was the Model M1 from Marantz, just because it's so it's compact. Sounds fantastic. It does. It's like I've already
does all
given
the
it
things.
its flowers multiple times, but it's pretty simple and kind of basic. Damn, I got nothing.
Okay. Design of the year, I agree. Like the Biolab 8s are definitely up there, spec'd differently than how we feature them on the channel. You guys know how I feel about wood slats at this point. I think that is a look that's on the way out. Fabric grill and all of that, I think it would be exceptional. The stands take them out of the running for me. The stands are janky.
Total miss.
They're a total miss. Don't understand it, but love you. But those stands were not a good idea.
The plate that sits on top.
It's not a good idea.
What are you doing?
And unfortunately, if you want floor stands, as far as I'm aware at this point, if you want floor stands for the 8s, that's your option, and I don't like them. So for I think the first time in 2 years, Bang & Olufsen is not going to win a Design of the Year award.
The LS60s
That was previous year.
White Crow brought up. I do think those are really
Very pretty.
really beautiful. The kind of crazy hornet's nest of wires in the back, though.
Not
Could
be better.
Could be better.
Could be better.
Design of the year. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Bowers and Wilkins, 804, whatever, 801,
800
whatever,
800 signature?
whatever signatures. Those are pretty incredible. Like when you really get up close and look at them.
Oh yeah, construction is.
Yeah, there's so much intricacy and detail.
Yeah.
I would say those are by far probably the most unique design and well done. I don't know.
Construction wise, they're
Yeah.
probably, the speaker behind me notwithstanding, because we haven't reviewed it yet, probably the best constructed speaker all year. My design of the year is going to Canvas
Okay.
because the versatility for the modern enthusiast, hi-fi and home theater, especially in a small space, for $25-ish $100 up to about $35-ish $100, depending on the size of your television or your needs. What they've done in creating a versatile soundbar, TV stand, or wall mount, or standalone speaker that you can then own, and then over time, if you want different looks, customized by changing out the grill, I think is really smart.
I agree.
And I think that is a company to watch. That is a company that I hope follows Canvas with something different and better too. But Canvas, design-wise, I will admit, I was like, when we first got it, I was like, uh-oh, I've made a mistake maybe in requesting this because I didn't quite understand it. But once I really spent some time with it and sat, and I was like, okay, this is a product that if I could go back in time to 21 to 23-year-old young professional, Andrew just in his first job working in Los Angeles and you know, not having a big space, but caring about the little things, that type of a product would have wrecked me. Could have changed like my whole hi-fi trajectory in a lot of ways, because it could have been maybe one and done. And I wouldn't have chased anything because I hate to say it, I have Bang & Olufsen for a fraction of the money.
I was just about to say, like, how did Bang & Olufsen not do that for you?
What do you mean? Like back 20 years ago?
Like be one and done. Like some of the products you've said you had, like their turntable and their speakers. Like I don't know why you didn't just stop while you were ahead then.
Because by the time I was able to really afford their products the way that I wanted to afford their products, being an AV journalist was already my job. And unfortunately, on personal Andrew, I still have not found much that speaks to me in that same way. But professional wise, you can't evaluate. Like I could be a TV reviewer for the rest of my life and stick with all my Bang & Olufsen products because they won't get in the evaluation way. I could do nothing but maybe disc spinners or Apple TVs forever. But when you're the managing editor of a publication and now you run a YouTube tech channel, it's not always applicable. So I don't know, maybe if I stayed in film advertising and just made movie posters for the rest of my life, I wouldn't have. But I had already been moonlighting as a AV journalist for, 4 or 5 years by the time I could literally go into a B&O store and be like, you know what, I would like to buy that. So, okay, last category. Product of the year.
Oh God.
Overall, I think we reviewed about 48 products this year. Product of the year. Has to have been reviewed by this point in time and only in 2024. And it can be anything, a television, speaker, amp, receiver, anything. Oh, real quick while you're thinking, the receiver of the year for me.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have one?
RZ30.
Same. I mean, for the money, like
Yeah.
what they just brought out,
Exceptional.
RZ30.
Yeah. That was easy.
Yeah. So product of the year.
Product of the year. Oh my goodness. Marantz Model 1, M1, whatever
M1.
you
Yep.
call
Model
it.
M1.
Yeah.
Product of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Speakers sound good on it.
Yep.
It, for me, again, this is for me, my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, gives me everything I would want in a product without having to go,
Crazy.
just Hoardersville with boxes everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It approaches a surround sound like sound.
Mm-hmm.
Atmos music, I think, sounds great with it. And it's pretty affordable.
Yeah.
For what you get. It's inconspicuous, it's not going to call attention to itself.
Mm-hmm.
They nailed it.
Okay.
My honorable mention would go to the Titans.
The Titans are my product of the year.
Okay.
The Titans are my product of the year. And the reason for that is threefold. Number one, no speaker has found its way back into rotation as much as possible this year in our home than those. We use them ad nauseum as much as we possibly can. And I find ways to use them in our in-between time. That's number one. Number two, they are so damn close on just raw enjoyment factor to giving me similar feels and a listening experience that rivaled the damn 800 signatures. That doesn't make them better. I'm just saying, when the 800 signatures had to be boxed up and returned to B&W because they graciously loaned them for review, and I am forever grateful for that experience and that opportunity, the withdrawal from the 800s to the Titan was not night and day. It was not so drastic, dramatic, or like, how am I going to get by?
Yeah.
Like, I fell right back into my Titans, and if anything, I learned some things about my time with the B&Ws that I then put into practice with the Titans, going, I wonder, have I exhausted every ounce that this speaker is capable of? And the answer was no. And I started with placement. And I rearranged our room a little bit. You didn't really notice, but I changed the positioning of our room because I was like, now I'm dead set on how close can I get the Titans to be. And they're not the same. They're not the same, but they had an extra gear even since our review. And I found it. And when I found it and I unlocked it, I was like, oh. And third, I typically, in my history, and if you've been following me for 20 years, this is my 25th year, if you've been following me for any length of time, I have never liked an SVS speaker.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's not that I've never, okay, let me.
That's not true. That's not true. Don't say that. We liked their.
Oh, the powered speaker?
We liked their powered
That doesn't
speaker,
count.
But no, the system, the Prime Wireless.
Oh, the Prime
in a
Wireless,
box was
you
good.
You are correct.
Was good. I thought the design was.
You are right. My apologies.
Not my
if you
cup of
followed
tea.
my print work, their previous Tower series, I reviewed in print. And while I could appreciate and see the value, they never ranked exceptionally high. Like, I was like, okay, they're an option, but this is still a subwoofer company. They've arrived. As far as I'm concerned, they've arrived. I don't care if you disagree with me or not. they're good.
They are.
They are good. That's my overall speaker of the year, and that is my product of the year. Between that and the M1, like in terms of fun factor on a personal level, as far as what has come into this channel, like either build me a Bravia 9 Sonos Arc system and call it a day, or give me, if we're going big, give me that TCL QM8 9, give me the 115. Let's just do it. It's some Titans, and some Titans in the front with the center that we have, and the surrounds, and tune in Sunday, but give me that SB17 and let me dial it all in and just reinforce some of the foundation, reinforce the roof and the walls and stuff. But yeah, if we're going big, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Yeah, I had fun. If you can't tell, I had fun with the Titans.
They're so good.
They're so much fun.
They're
And
so
you guys are gonna find the final chapter of their story on Sunday. Sunday.
There's been, it's really hard to choose. You guys really got to know that. It's really hard to pick like a best of whatever.
Yeah, because everything
category.
is great.
Yeah, and I really hope that if you were watching something like this, and then you go back and watch maybe a review of another speaker or something that maybe didn't technically win, I hope you can just try to keep it in context, because it doesn't take away from what we said or the validity of what was said in that review.
Yeah.
But if you're putting us on the spot and
I think that we kind of talked about that too in the beginning or a couple of weeks ago. Like, this is the first year we're not doing a year-end wrap-up.
Yeah, like a true pre-recorded video.
Yeah, we're not doing that this year, and I don't think we're ever going to do it going forward because, A, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of work. Those videos are a lot of work. But also because I can make a case, if it's on the channel, unless it just completely shat-valanched, I can make a case for everything because we do our best to curate what we bring you. And that's why if it's a negative review, understand, like, we are as surprised as you are, because we turn away, like I said, we only do about 40 reviews a year, tops. And we turn away a lot. And not everything we request arrives. So when things turn out to be a disappointment or negative, like, we are genuinely just as surprised as you guys are, because we spend a considerable amount of time like weighing the options and going like, okay, this versus that. What do we want to spend our time with? And so we try and make as educated as decisions as possible. So I think if you made it on the channel, not to toot our own horn or anything like that, but we had some exceptional products all year. Just off the cuff, those have been our favorites, and I think that's a more fun way to do it. So anyway, I'm showing one more. I have a couple more questions that I missed here that I don't want to ruin my reputation of answering. Jane A, will you be reviewing the Arundel 1528? Jane A, if you didn't catch the beginning of our video, long story short, we have reached out every which way from Sunday to Arundel about getting their new products on this channel. We have received precisely 0 response. So I don't know what that means as far as whether or not they will be on the channel in 2025. That's the best I got.
Unlikely.
Chris, thank you both for this year with fantastic videos, which I enjoyed greatly. Keep it up, please, and all the best for the future.
That's very
Thank you so
kind.
much, Chris. And closing us out with the questions today, Jason.
What?
Looking for a recommendation for a phono preamp that won't smoke my bank account using Audiolab 6000A Play, Project Debut Carbon Evo, Paradigm Studio 20. Love the channel, and the haters can suck it. I look, phono preamps that's not going to smoke your bank account. Project makes several outboard phono preamps that have been very solid. We have not reviewed them or given them their own video, but we have had a few. They work great, especially with the table that you have. So I would go to them first. Go to wherever projects are sold or whatever online site. Type in Project Phono Preamp. Start there. Genuinely, that's where I would go. Aside from that, Cambridge Audio has a really nice outboard phono preamp. You might want to give that a shot. Otherwise, you're going way up market with me, because the last dedicated phono preamp that really changed the way I thought I was listening to records and made a demonstrably impactful case for why you would want to invest in a phono preamp. That phono preamp was like $4,000, and it was made by a little Texas-based company called Bandwidth Audio. You're free to go look them up. I don't know what they're up to. Hopefully they're still in business. But Bandwidth made a standalone phono preamp that is arguably the best phono preamp I've ever heard, but it's $4,000. I don't know if that's going to smoke your bank account. It would smoke my bank account right now, so I'm going to put it through that lens. But I would start with Project, look at Cambridge, but if you've got it, go take a look at the Bandwidth audio phono preamp. So I can't feel my legs. Hey, Bang Olufsen, BioLab 8 or Phantom. I haven't heard the DVLA Phantom in any real capacity, so I'm going to side with the BioLab 8, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm just picking it because it's what I know. And Wirehead says, thank you for another great year of products and advice. Merry insert appropriate to Andrew and Kristi and everyone else. Love you guys. Well, Wirehead, we love you too. Thank you guys so very much. Don't forget, this isn't the last video of the year. Like I said, there are 3 more coming.
I just want to say a particular thank you to people like Wirehead and Vadim and Wishbone.
Yeah. Chris Veltman.
Veltman, for sure.
Yeah.
There are some, like Tony Marie, I see a lot in our, coming through our videos and leaving comments.
We see a lot of regulars.
Your names do become familiar to us, and I just want you to know, like Mr. J. Davis as well, Golf Addict. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah.
And Lisa B was another one from earlier in the stream.
Yep.
And just when we see your faces, it makes us happy.
Yeah.
That especially some like KJ Bunny Boiler. I don't know if he's still listening, but like KJ is probably the first person to comment on every single video. In fact, recently Andrew actually pontificated about whether or not KJ was a bot, because this person has the timing of
He's a Swiss watch.
It's insane.
And I get that we post on a schedule, Fridays and Sundays, but yeah, it's he's there, and boy, if I don't see him on Fridays or Sundays, I get concerned.
Oh sure.
I get
concerned. Oh gosh, there was 1 week or 2 weeks in there. I'm like, and I think he was on vacation or something. Yeah. But yeah, we were like, oh. There was a guy, Sean. Do you remember that guy, Sean from? We haven't seen him pop up in years, or a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I still think about him. He was in our comments on every video, and I knew he had some health problems.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him in more than a year, and I'm honestly concerned. Like that's.
I know I sent him. I know he did. I know he was in the hospital a couple of years ago, and we found out, and I got in touch with him, and I know we sent him some. We sent him something. I don't recall what it was, but we sent him something. But yeah, I haven't seen him, and I don't know how to find out any more information. So just know that this isn't an anonymous thing for us. Yeah. It never has been. While maybe we don't always or will ever meet in person, like we do feel like, especially with a lot of our regulars and a lot of you guys, like we do feel like we've gotten to know you, and so. Yeah, it's the end of the year. I just want you guys to know you're appreciated. You really are. And while I threaten to quit every single day, you guys, you pull me out.
It's the people like
Yeah.
the ones we've mentioned just
Yeah.
now that really keep us going at times.
Yeah.
You know, you may not know it or realize it, but you just showing up has a huge impact.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely
thank you.
does. And we care. I mean, I know like Nick's probably working right now, so Nick wasn't able to join us, but like we've gotten to know some of you and it's invaluable. It's really invaluable. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And along those lines, very early discussions inside this house have taken place where if we can find a way to make it fun and suitable and easy, maybe in 2025 we'll make it the year where we try and get to hang out with you guys in person somewhere, somehow. So we're still trying to figure out what that would look like.
You know us. It's going to have to be beautiful and amazing.
Yeah, we want
and
you
in
to
a
have
freaking awesome location.
we want to hang out with you guys, but we also want it to be worth the trip because I'm incredibly boring. And
I'm not.
She's not. She's not. So unless I want to stand in the corner of my own party, I got to figure out.
What do you? Don't kid yourself, baby. They're going to be there to see me.
That's right.
If for no other reason to see what I look like. These guys. The obsession is real. Somebody left a comment on a different video. I saw it right before we came on live. That said, "I bet Kristi just sits there naked during all the videos." And it's like, what's wrong with you?
I didn't see that comment.
What was wrong with you? I don't know.
I wouldn't get any work done.
Y'all need to get out more.
So, all right. That's it, guys. I got to call it. You're going to see a black frame if you haven't already because my YouTube crashed. So, but we're still here. I'm not hiring, but I'm going to find a contract with some network guy because we got to fix this. Something's wrong. I need an expert. Anyway, okay.
Oh, Brian Ruby. Hi. Brian's another one.
Yes.
Brian's another one. Scott Baylor's another one. If you didn't see it, we appreciate you. Or
Yeah.
didn't hear it
Yeah.
earlier.
Appreciate you, but
He's got to stand up.
I got to stand up. I got to go. We'll see you guys Sunday for the well, let's just say it.
It's a subwoofer review.
First subwoofer review in 5 years, and it's a big, massive, we're going all in on subwoofer talk. So tune in on Sunday for that.
And if you don't show up to watch,
You're never getting a
you're never
subwoofer
getting
again.
another one
I'm breaking
again.
my rule because I said we don't
Yeah,
review
it
subwoofers.
just-
I'm breaking my rule, so tune in. All right. Anyway, I got to run. Have a great rest of your Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with me.
And if we don't catch you for any reason, happy holidays.
Yes.
Take some time to get outside, feel the sun, and like hug your dog or your kid or
Yeah.
call your mom.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do something nice for somebody.
So yeah. Till then, thank you so much for watching. 4 hours. Love it.
Damn it.
4 hours. So, all right. See you Sunday, guys. We got to go. Bye.